Hello, and welcome to Select and Start, the podcast about meaningful and memorable video games. I'm your host, Keifer, and every episode I bring on a guest who selects a game that made an impact on their life. I have a wonderful guest with me, a returning guest, even. You may recognize him from the Fallout New Vegas episode, and if you don't, why haven't you listened to the Fallout New Vegas episode? It's my great buddy, Will. Will, how are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. It's crazy that you said today because it's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's
It
night.
might become night. It may become tomorrow by the time this recording ends. Who's to say?
I hope it does.
I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad Will's doing well. Will, ordinarily, I would dedicate the first chunk of this episode to getting to know the guest before jumping into video games as a subject. And then after about an hour or so, actually do talk about the game. But we don't have to do that today because you've been here before. The second episode of the show, in fact, to talk about one of our very favorite games, Fallout New Vegas.
That was the second episode?
That was the very second episode.
Oh my
A very
God.
fun episode.
I knew it was early in the run, but I didn't know it was that early.
Yeah, that's when the show was still untested. The format was still loosey-goosey. And we I remember we talked for the first 20 minutes. We lost connection and lost the first chunk of the recording. Yeah. And I was like, that's never happened before because this is the only second time this has happened. But hey, we're still here. We're better than ever. And it's great to have a familiar face here when I believe the show is even better. I like that episode, actually, even though I
did too, yeah.
We talk about butt rock, and inevitably that brings us to talking about a musical video game. But before we talk about musical video games, let's touch base. What have you been up to in the past couple of years? And you can be as broad or specific with that in the terms of video games as you'd like to be.
Sweet. Let's see. I've been playing video games as well as not playing video games. I've been on both ends of the video game spectrum and in between, kind of like a purgatory video game state.
So you're telling me that even though you stream sometimes, you don't play video games 24/7?
I really don't. I would say I play them 4-5 instead of 24/7. I would say
4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 hours a week, 5 days a week. Does that add up?
Legal, like in terms of possibility, yes.
Okay,
I'm just curious, do you have this regimented in terms of here are the days I'm allowed to play video games and here are the 3 days where I have to fast?
No, it's really just it used to be video games were a way for me to be lazy, and now not playing video games is a way for me to be lazy. So,
why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think I started to find some type of productivity in it with streaming, and I was like, this could really benefit me. So then I stopped. So just as a self-sabotage method. So,
what have you been streaming lately?
The only thing I've streamed in the last couple months is Clone Hero, completely unrelated to any discussion that we'll have today.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's basically it.
So you haven't been playing any other video games, or has anything grabbed your eye, or you're just I'm just full on Clone Hero mode right now?
It's mostly been Clone Hero. I've redelved. I've delved. We'll say delved.
You've redabbled.
I've dabbled. Yeah. I've re-entranced myself with Peggle.
Okay.
You know Peggle. You gotta know Peggle.
I know Peggle. I know Peggle 2.
Yeah.
Is there a third Peggle?
So there's spin-offs. There's Peggle Knights. There's Peggle Blast on mobile. Who could forget it? Yeah, I've been playing that. I can curse on here, right? Nothing's changed?
Oh, yeah. As long as, like I said, we had this conversation last episode, as long as it's not a slur, it's
Sweet.
Allowed.
All right, well, I've been playing that crap, so...
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah,
oh,
sorry. I'm trying to keep it a little bit raunchy.
PG-13 specific words aren't allowed. You have to either go all the way in with shit or go back to poop. I'm sorry.
Can I say poopy?
No. I decided no, just because it sounds bad. It sounds weird.
Right. Then I've been playing that poop, I guess.
All right.
Yeah, just stuff like that. Started a Skyrim playthrough again for the first time in probably 5 years, but I've played that game, 10 times. So
what a loadout are you doing this time?
So I always start doing mage stuff, and then it just always devolves into stealth archer. It just happens every time.
Every single time.
Yeah. I'm just well, that's the only way that you can really play this game. So
I didn't want to stereotype you as the person that 90% of people who play Skyrim more than once do.
Yeah.
But I had to ask.
It's either stealth archer or just conjuration, and I just have, everybody fight my battles for me like a president.
Yeah.
A little political commentary there for you.
Oh yeah. So that makes a whole like catch up game easy for me because you deprive yourself of gaming as much as possible.
Yep.
When you do play video games, you make everybody in the game fight your battles for you. And Peggle is also involved.
Yep.
All right. Will the intermittent gamer. I went back and I listened to the first episode you were on, second episode of the show, and there's some things I want to follow up on. I want to read back a little conversation that we had about 4 minutes into the episode. I referring to this show, I joked that no one would listen to at the time. That it was just an empty void we're all yelling into for attention. You replied, make sure you email that to yourself so nobody else can steal it. You can trademark that.
Yep.
And I said, I already said it on the podcast and no one's going to listen to. And you replied, but people will read your emails. And then we immediately moved on from that subject. We moved on talking about like Theory of a Dead Man or whatever. A few weeks later, I told this story on the podcast already in the Mass Effect 2 episode. My email was in fact hacked.
Oh.
So I got access to my shit again and it's secured and everything's been good to this day. But people were, in fact, reading my emails. So before we go into the rest of the episode, I do have to ask you, Will, why the fuck did you hack my Gmail account?
I got bored. You know, I figured you might have some really good spam in there that I can maybe get some 10% off like coupon codes for. Maybe for like a John Deere, you know?
I look like a John Deere guy to you. I don't know if I should be complimented or not.
Well, that would go to your spam. So like you would have marked it as spam.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the stuff that one man's spam is another man's treasure.
Oh, okay. So you are just like a spam diver. You just want to look at that. Yeah. You want to look in other people's garbage, but real garbage is too filthy for you. So you're just like, emails, that's low stakes enough.
Yeah, I'm like a possum, but if I get scared, I actually die.
Right. Because if you just go into people's junk mail, that's a federal crime. But since politicians don't know what the internet is, like, hey, what's a couple Gmail accounts? What's ruining a few people's like livelihoods?
Exactly. A similar story. I got my bank account hacked probably like a year ago.
Yeah.
And it's honestly really funny because I didn't have two-factor authenticate. Can you say that word for me?
Authentication.
Yeah. Thank you. I didn't have two-factor what you said on it for some reason, even though it was my bank. I did have it on Twitter, worth noting. So then I changed my passwords and everything and got two-factor on my bank account. But the way that they did it is they sent me a bunch of spam emails so they wouldn't see my bank account emails. And I'm still on the spam list. And I swear to God, it's only like investing like crypto bro stuff. And I feel like it's because when they got into my bank account, they were like, oh, this dude doesn't have shit. Like, he's broke as hell. We got to sign him up for these investing emails and seminars. So, and I still get them like every day. I've unsubscribed from like all of them and they just keep coming in.
So. They saw that you had nothing in your bank.
Yeah.
It felt bad for you. And they're like, we gotta get this guy on the grind set.
Yeah, they really were trying to help me. And I really do appreciate whoever hacked my bank account. I also have ones that are in Russian, and I don't know how to unsubscribe from those because I don't know Russian.
Yeah.
So
I hope they're not like something that says like, if you read this email, you're automatically drafted into the war on Ukraine. That's
probably, I think I'm not going to make it through the end of this podcast episode. I think I'm going to have to go. Yeah.
Our first conscription on mic. Usually we talk about inscription.
Ooh.
What about conscription? See, we made it about gaming. You haven't been playing any of that Balatro, anything like that? Nothing?
No, what's that?
Deck building video game involving the use of Joker cards that everybody's been talking about in every other video game podcast, so I might as well bring it up in this one.
No, I've never heard of it, actually.
Popular streaming game. It's very good to play if you are talking to people and playing a video game at the same time.
What game did you say it was called?
Balatro.
Aren't those brothers? One of them was a blues brother. One of them's Jim.
I don't know. It's just a poker theme roguelike deck building game. If you want to play poker but not really, check it out. It's almost like gambling, but what if it was good and not gambling?
Can you gamble in it?
No.
Right, playing it.
I'm sure maybe you can. I haven't played it. Why am I talking about a video game neither of us have played? Yeah. That's great content.
That's what the episode's about, is Belushi.
Jim Belushi. Yeah. Oh, there you go. I just got the joke. That's great.
It's all right. I circled back around. I could tell.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. So, is there anything you're looking forward to playing, or you're just locked in the Clone Hero forever? You're like, this is enough. This is great for me.
Yeah, I think I've basically reached the precipice of gaming. So I love seeing my 5 little, my green, my red, my blue, my yellow, and my orange question mark. I think that's it. Yeah. Love seeing those colors on my screen.
By your own admission in the last episode, you're not like a capital G gamer. You like video games. You're not in love with video games. So it would make sense that after talking about this all-encompassing open world video game, this RPG where the world is yours, you're like, that's enough of that.
Yep.
5 colors. That's great for me.
Yep. Some classic rock.
Honestly, just me, a silly looking controller, and my colors.
That's really all you need.
Yeah, and how do you feel about music, Will?
I would say I like it.
Do you love it?
Are you saying all of it?
Look, do people who like boys like every boy? I don't know.
Yeah, I would say I love it then.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, name every song then.
A to Z?
Whatever you want. There's some numbers in there too.
The alphabet song.
Okay, that's a great way to start from A to Z. That's a great way to go from A to Z, actually.
What's a song that starts with B? Bocelli. That's an artist.
That's not even a song. That's just a person's name. Belushi. That's a person's name.
Blues Traveler.
Blues Traveler. That is also a name of a band.
That's an artist. Bee Gees?
Also a band.
I'm blowing it. I'm actually frozen. This isn't a bit anymore.
This isn't a bit. Man.
Bring Me to Life. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Took us a minute, but we got there. Evanescence says Bring Me to Life. Let's not do the rest of the alphabet now.
Thank God. Thank God.
You've proved to me that you know multiple songs, possibly 2. Let me ask you a question that everybody hates to be asked. What kind of music do you like, Will?
So a little behind or inside baseball for the listener. Keifer sent me a couple questions ahead of time that I could look at them, and I saw this one specifically. And Annie, my partner in life and partner in future crimes, saw this, and
Please don't admit to future crimes on this show.
Okay, I'm sorry. Admit that.
Okay. No, I'm keeping it in. I'm just telling you.
Strike that from the record.
Okay.
Strike that. I said, in response to what kind of music you like, I said I was going to say, I like a little bit of everything. And she specifically said, don't say that. That's so boring. So instead, I'm going to say, I like most of everything.
So, okay. So you decided like, I'm going to go bigger.
Yes.
Most of everything. Most songs are good to you. You can listen to all of Guns N' Roses' discography, and most of it would be good to you. Am I following?
Yes. Question mark.
All right.
I'm not the biggest Axl Rose head.
I don't like Guns N' Roses personally.
I don't really either.
Whatever guns your roses, buddy.
That's funny.
Thank you. Let me narrow the question from like, what do you like, to, what records would you say you own from artists? What bands have you seen in the past few years? Maybe that'll help. I'm sure you're not seeing every concert.
God, I wish. As a real music head, I wish I could be at every concert.
Yeah, I'm at every concert going, go music. Let's go.
For real. And your music branded hat. Like Rob Lowe's NFL hat.
This is now the 3rd episode referencing Rob Lowe's NFL hat this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're on a streak. Let's go. I actually don't own any records because I'm a big Spotify. I'm a big streamer,
Mm-hmm.
I love to stream my music. That's the way to really support the artists. What concerts have I been to in the last year? A lot of indie rock stuff. Broken Social Scene. Saw them live last fall. Basically anything that you think like a white dude that sounds like this listens to, I love that shit.
Sure. Tyler, the Creator.
No.
Car Seat Headrest.
No.
Weezer.
I have seen Car Seat Headrest twice, but I don't. That's not like a proud statement that I make,
I like Car Seat Headrest, and I have seen Car Seat Headrest live, but I am also a white guy that looks like this. So, take my music taste with a grain of salt. And buckle up for the rest of this episode.
Exactly. Do you listen to Cheekface? Have
I
you
do
gotten there
like
yet?
Cheekface, yes.
Ooh, saw them last year. Incredible live.
Yeah. For
Gotta
people who
see
don't
them
know,
live.
Cheekface is kind of like if They Might Be Giants was also cake. That's the kind of vibe.
Yeah, yeah. That's basically how I've described them too. Like,
Yeah.
those are the two bands, and it's like, yeah, that's who they are.
Sort of monotone, but in like a cheeky way. It's in the
Cheekfacey.
name.
Yeah,
There you go.
there I go.
I'm seeing Jeff Rosenstock in April. That is an artist I've seen before. He's toured with Cheekface before, actually. So that's nice. Oh, you're wearing a Jeff
I
Rosenstock shirt right
am.
now. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a Neon Genesis Evangelion shirt. That's not a band, but I wanted to say it out loud because I just saw End of Evangelion in theaters. But this isn't a movie podcast, and it's barely a video game podcast, and it's almost a music podcast.
Almost.
Almost. We're getting there. So, you like music. Can you give me some, artists that people generally do know that you'd say like, oh, I listen to that artist pretty often?
Let's see. The people would generally know, you say. I like the Strokes.
Strokes, that's a good one.
Yeah. Interpol. Just like those classic indie rock seminal bands,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like I never like to be, because like I really do listen to a lot of just fucking bullshit or freaking bull poop. So I don't
Nope.
like.
Go back to bullshit.
All right, my
From
bad.
now on, you're only allowed to cuss.
Only?
Only.
Shit. Okay.
All right.
But yeah, I listen to a lot of fucking bullshit. So I never like to be the guy that's just like, yeah, I love this band and this band and this band,
Sure. You want somebody else to lead so you don't feel like silly for saying, I like this artist that a lot of people like.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Because also, like, when people talk music that you don't know about, even if they're talking really passionately, it's just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, there's something about putting yourself out there and being genuinely enthusiastic about something you enjoy that can be mortifying. I mean,
Yeah.
some of us get over that and do a podcast about video games, and then they get mortified about having to talk about the podcast in public, thus creating a new problem.
Yeah.
I'm confident enough to say it, edit it, and publish it. But if a person in real life asks me what I do, I'm like,
Have you done a live episode? And would you?
technically, yes. I've done an episode that was recorded on a live stream. I did the Hades episode that way, and then I posted it. But I haven't done like a live show, and I've never Twitch stream myself.
Right.
Stream, that's a word.
Stream, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, I don't know how people do like live podcasts, live anything, but like especially a podcast, because like that's just a conversation.
So I do karaoke, right? So it's not really a problem of putting myself out there because I will absolutely fuck up a song either in a good way or a bad way, depending on how many gin and tonics are in me.
Right. What's your go-to either song or artist for karaoke?
The Cars, Just What I Needed, is a great karaoke song.
Okay, yes.
When I want to do something gravelly and just like yell, I will do Reptilia by Strokes as featured in Guitar Hero and Rock Band. Honestly, like there's a lot of songs in Rock Band too, because there is a vocal mic in that controller that are conducive to karaoke. If you ever are like floundering on trying to find a karaoke song and have played a lot of these games. What about you? Ever do karaoke?
We've done karaoke like parties, but I've never done it in front of a live audience, really.
Sure. So you've only done it in a pre-recorded audience.
Yes, exactly. Like, I think I could do it as long as I'm with other people, but if I'm just like alone at a karaoke bar, I don't think that'll ever happen, but also like I don't think I'll ever be able to muster the courage up to just go on stage and sing a little ditty for the people.
Sure. So you're totally fine Twitch streaming, but once it becomes like real life people who can look at you with their real life eyes, it becomes a bit of a, oh no.
Yeah, it's a thing to where if you can smell me, then I'm insecure. But as long as you can't smell me, I'm like, well, you have nothing over me,
Have you tried deodorant? I think deodorant would help.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, well, I'm not going to teach you.
All right.
Yeah. It's not my responsibility to teach you.
I'll look it up after this or something. I don't know. We'll see.
It's got a lot of letters in it. Be careful. Don't overload your computer. We're talking about a video game centered around music today. What about video game soundtracks? Are there video game soundtracks that you like?
I would say that there are. So when I think of video game soundtracks, I usually don't think of like original soundtracks, like, a score for a video game. I usually think of like a curated, like basically a playlist.
Licensed music. That's what I'm alluding to right now. Yeah.
Okay, cool. all the Tony Hawk games pretty much were like super formative for me, and that's
Mhm.
basically how I found out about like music, essentially. Like
Yeah.
just grinding, get it?
Yeah.
Grinding Tony Hawk games like in my childhood, and just listening to ska and Goldfinger, Mighty Mighty Boss Tones were on a soundtrack.
I'm imagining like a family that didn't own a radio, but they do have a PlayStation 2. So
Yeah,
that's the only
that's a
way they can
radio.
access music. Yeah.
That's literally a radio. Yeah, I would say all the Tony Hawk games, a lot, basically skateboarding games in general, the skate games as well, like super formative soundtracks. And then NBA 2K15,
Hmm.
crazy soundtrack. If you haven't looked it up, look it up. Like it's actually crazy. 2K15 and 2K11 both have like legitimately incredible soundtracks.
Yeah.
So
You name dropped 2K15, sorry, 2K11 in the last episode. And now
yeah,
let's look at the 2K15 soundtrack here. We got
yes,
A Tribe Called Quest, amazing. Scenario, one of my favorite songs by them.
same. That's actually how I heard it for the first time too, because I was like 16 or something when that game came out.
Clips, Grindin'. That
Yep.
is a Virginia staple because Clips
Let's
is
go.
from Virginia Beach. That automatically puts this game in my good graces. We got Lauryn Hill's Doo Wop. We got Team by Lorde. We got multiple Pharrell Williams songs and a Major Lazer song featuring Pharrell Williams. People were all in
So,
on Pharrell in
so
2014.
Pharrell curated the soundtrack. That's why.
Interesting.
Yep.
That makes sense because he's also from Virginia Beach.
Yes. Let me. I keep saying songs. Let me fact check that. I'm pretty sure that is the game that Pharrell
The
curated.
soundtrack was curated by Pharrell Williams, is what I'm now seeing on Wikipedia.
Okay. Thank you so much for fact checking that for me. My team was a little slow getting the facts up.
Missy Elliott, another Virginian artist. Pharrell was just like, fuck it. We're doing Virginia stuff. We're doing it.
Yeah.
And honestly, good for him.
You got to go back and play 2K15 to like really get your Virginia like card.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to these artists regularly, but I can just listen to music strictly through video games like you did growing up. I can try that.
Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Yeah. We got The Raptures, House of Jealous Lovers, Strokes Under the Cover of Darkness. I am a big Angles guy, so happy for that representation. Yeah, no, this is and
How
just
do you
like
feel about geometry?
geometry, wasn't my best subject in school.
Okay.
I was weirdly good at trigonometry. Like for some reason, I just absolutely washed myself in geometry. But then I took trig. It's like, oh, when it's just one shape, this is way easier.
That's crazy.
We got Personal Jesus on here.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to Pharrell for 30 minutes about music, as long as it's not blurred lines. I would love to talk about music with him.
I'm sure he would do it. He seems like he likes music.
Yeah, almost as much as you like music, but you say you love it. I wonder.
I would say I like it more than Pharrell, but I don't know. I've never met the guy.
I mean, I haven't met him either, and I'm from Virginia, which clearly matters here.
Yeah, you never ran into him at Newport News. That's a place there, right?
It's one of the 7 cities of Hampton Roads, of which Virginia Beach is a part. So, yes.
Okay.
No, I haven't run into him there.
Okay.
He does host a music festival here, though.
Does he do something in the water?
So that's something in the water. That's him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Trying to finally bring good things to Virginia Beach, and he's certainly trying. He is certainly trying.
You can't knock him for the effort.
Justin Timberlake once said that Virginia Beach was just a bunch of strip malls and Chick-fil-A's, and he was right about that. That was a correct statement. I hate to hand it to Justin Timberlake under any circumstances, but he was correct.
You gotta give it to him there. I've never been, so I can't claim.
I desperately want to rep my hometown so well, but I also don't live there anymore. I live in Savannah, Georgia now.
Yeah, true.
And I like it here a lot, and I left Virginia Beach for a reason. But I will always do the Virginia mention anytime an artist like Pharrell comes up. So
let's go.
There we go. So I'm actually glad we did that. That was a very, very illuminating thing. I had no idea that Pharrell was curating video game soundtracks like this. I have also had my life informed by video game soundtracks growing up. My brothers played a lot of the Tony Hawk games. They played a lot of the SSX snowboarding games. So stuff like that. Oh, I played all the Grand Theft Auto games. So.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I had GTA 5 on here too, but I feel like that shouldn't even count as a soundtrack. That legitimately is just like every song.
They keep adding to it.
I know,
like when I got it on PlayStation 3, it was only those handful of radio stations, but now they have curated radio stations from Julian Casablancas on there.
Yeah.
It is a lot. There's a lot of music on there.
And Frank Ocean too.
Oh yeah, Frank Ocean has the Blonde station on there too. So yeah, like when I got it on PlayStation 5, revisiting it lately because it is a very, I'm not saying it's weird that it's a comfort game. I think a lot of people play Grand Theft Auto 5 to unwind, but
yeah,
revisiting that and hearing music released from like the 2020s felt very strange because it is a game locked into 2010s culture otherwise. But yeah, especially San Andreas' soundtrack really got me onto a lot of music from the 90s hip hop sort of thing, a lot of R&B music.
Right.
It was the soundtrack that got me into Tom Petty because Running Down to Dream's on there.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I also listened to the KDUS station, which was hosted by Axl Rose, which unfortunately I do have to hand it to him there.
Have you ever mentioned Guns N' Roses twice in the same podcast?
I do my best to never mention Guns N' Roses ever.
Well, you're at twice, and we're only like 30 minutes in.
So. There's that Eric Andre Over Under interview he does, and he talks about how much he fucking hates Guns N' Roses and how they're a racist fucking band, and that's what lives in my head anytime anybody's talking about Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
A similar thing with Red Hot Chili Peppers, there's that Nick Cave quote where he's like, whenever I'm in public, I'm like, what is this fucking bullshit? And every single time, it's Red Hot Chili Peppers.
I agree, but also the closer I get to 30, the more I hear Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I'm like, I'm starting to kind of get it.
They're very situational, and they're a very hit and miss band.
Oh, for sure. They miss really, really bad.
The song Can't Stop sounds like they're hitting the wrong notes in Guitar Hero.
It really does. It really does. But then they hit. Do you know By the Way by Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yeah.
That's a song to where it's like they managed to do both, where the verses are awful. It's just like nonsense. And then the hook, it's beautiful. They're like both ends, and it's
There's
incredible.
So many songs that they just have to ruin because like the song keeps going. And they're like, let's do the beaty de boopity pop part now. Let's do that part.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Sorry to the Red Hot Chili Pepper likers out there.
Yeah. Hey, Flea, if you're listening, my bad, man. We go way back, me and Flea.
Flea, very talented artist objectively, but this is just a band that's not the sum of their parts. It just feels like one guy who just like cannot restrain himself. And like, it's like, let's make this song longer than a minute and ruin it.
I really do think if they had like a different, so like Anthony Kiedis can sing,
yeah,
you know, but if
some
he
of the parts
just like,
yeah,
if he just like didn't exist in the band, I think I'd like him way more.
Mm-hmm.
If they had like a normal guy.
There are certain bands and artists who, left to their own devices, ruin themselves. And I mean, every time Brendan Urie insists upon himself, it's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Objectively talented vocalist, but then he's just like, but no, I have to show people every single time how talented I am, because if I'm not screaming and hitting the note, then people won't know I'm talented. Like we lack the object permanence to know that you sang well before.
That's basically the mindset of a child. People will notice me if I scream really well.
I think it's the theater child mindset. Yes.
yeah, that's true.
Anyway, I just don't have any high hopes for his musical future. Bada bing, bada boom. Other musical soundtracks. Video game soundtracks, not musical soundtracks. Jesus.
Okay, sorry. That one just clicked for me. My bad. The high hopes thing.
This is a great episode if you wanted somebody to get a joke a minute later.
Okay, I got it way sooner than you.
Yeah, fair.
Not that it's a competition. But
okay.
If it was, I would have won.
Oh, you can tell it's 9 p.m. on a weekend right now. So yeah, video games are a great vector if you want to get new music. It has certainly done a number on me. It has certainly introduced you to a lot of music that you have incorporated into your life. I mean, what is Cheek Face but a Tony Hawk ass band?
Yeah, if there's ever another game, they're probably on that soundtrack.
Yeah, I'm praying for a day where we get a Tony Hawk game with Jeff Rosenstock on it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I can't believe it. Yeah. They put Viagra Boys on the remake of the 1 and 2. Like
they did, yeah. But yeah, so have you missed any video game soundtracks, or can we
I do want to mention one thing because I think it's really funny. A band technically that I got introduced to through a video game. I don't know if you've heard of them. Not a lot of people probably have. The Beatles. Do you know them?
Oh, there's a video game about them.
Yeah, you might know him as Ringo and the Boys.
Oh yeah, Ringo Starr. I know about him.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah,
He's the Microsoft Paint artist. He drew your baby.
yeah. Is this a reference?
You don't know about Ringo Starr's Microsoft Paint art?
No, I don't.
If this were a video podcast, I'd be able to show you in the audience. But instead, what I'm going to do is look up Ringo Starr
Okay.
and then type in your baby and then laugh for 3 hours.
Okay, okay.
Like I want you to do that too, Will. I want your baby reaction.
Okay. You said Ringo Starr, your baby.
YER baby.
Oh, why? What is this a piece of art?
This
Or
is a
this
piece
like
of
an
art.
album cover?
Nope, this is Microsoft Paint art created by one Ringo Starr.
Oh my god. This looks like a mid 2000s David Bowie album cover.
It certainly does, and I know exactly what you're referencing. Why aren't we talking about David Bowie all the time?
Oh my god. No, I've never seen it's only $3,800, but there's only 96 left in stock. I think I gotta get it.
Honestly.
I didn't Oh my god, he has more? I didn't know this. I didn't know that he has like a George W. Bush type side hustle.
Yeah, you're telling me that this guy is also in the most famous band in recorded history?
Yeah. I am. He's actually the drummer in the Beatles.
That's crazy.
Do you know the instrument that goes like boom, boom, boom?
Is it the thing? Is that
crash?
Oh, the guy in the band who gets to sit. Yeah.
Yeah.
The drums.
The lazy one. The lazy one.
The lazy one. He doesn't completely like do anything for the band. What's rhythm? What is rhythm?
Nothing. It's literally nothing.
Yeah.
Flea can do the rhythm.
Yeah.
You don't need Ringo Starr. Let Flea do it.
Yeah. The bass and the drums, the two least important instruments. It's only the guitar and the vocals.
Literally. But no, I was introduced to the Beatles. So technically I was introduced by my dad. Whatever. There you go, Dad. There's your credit. But like, I was like 9 years old. So I was like, whatever. My dad listens to them. They're probably garbage. But then the Beatles rock band came out. And that was at the height of my like, I won't say like obsession, but like definitely like deep entrenchment with like Rock Band and Guitar Hero rhythm games.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I was like, well, I'm gonna play it. And I like fell in love with the Beatles through that. So yeah, technically a video game introduced me to the Beatles, or Ringo and the Boys.
Ringo and the Boys, artist of your baby. No, yeah, I mean I love the Beatles. I've only ever played a Beatles rock band once. I have a story on this later. So, you love music, you like video games, and you like music in video games. So I brought a little segment for you today, Will.
Ooh.
It's a new segment. I've never done this on the show before, so we'll call it experimental.
Okay.
Let's test your knowledge on music and video games with this new segment I call Jukebox Hero.
Okay.
No one's ever said that. No one's ever said those combinations of word ever.
No, yeah, that's new.
It's new. So here's how this segment is going to work, Will. I'm going to give you the name of a licensed song featured in a video game, and you have to guess what game they're in. Some rules to make this more clear.
Okay.
Every song I give you will be a licensed track in a popular video game. None of these are tracks specifically written for a video game, and you are at the very least familiar with the games they're in. I have a general idea of what your taste is like. I have a general idea of like what you listen to, what games you've played. This shouldn't be too difficult. But you did struggle with the letter B earlier, so I can't be 100%.
Yeah, but that's one of the tougher ones.
Yeah, that's not one of the more common letters. There's no E. It's not an S, you know?
Yeah.
It's not even a T.
No. It dreams of being a T.
It's not, you don't see that letter a lot in Wordle. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
You a New York Times game guy?
Yeah, I pay for it, actually. I think I started paying for it probably like 8 months ago, and then I didn't play any of them for the last like 3 or 4 months. But I picked it back up in the last like week or so. So I'm really making my money count.
Yeah. I play it for free.
The only reason I paid for it is because I love the spelling bee game so much, and it always bummed me out when it like cut me off. It was like, no, brother, you've had enough.
You know too many words. Get out of here.
I wanted to give them my money so I could show them how many words I know.
I'm proud of you, and I'm sure they are too. They take those words and they use them in their articles. It's great. I like connections and I hate connections.
Yeah, same.
I also have a beef with their Sudoku app, and I don't like it. I prefer just the Sudoku app that you can get on the App Store because the New York Times definition of hard and normal are considerably harder than the hard and normal that I am used to playing.
All Sudoku is hard for me, just because like numbers,
Yeah, they're not letters, They're not the same as letters, numbers. Back to the rules of the game we're supposed to play. Yeah, so every track is a licensed track. It's not a song written for a video game. Some of these tracks are featured in more than one video game. You only have to guess one correctly to get a point. If you can correctly guess more than one game that a song is featured in, I'll give you another point because I'm a nice guy.
Okay.
I did not select any songs exclusive to annual release sports games like Madden, 2K, FIFA, and so on. I would never do that to you. If the song I give you happens to be in a yearly sports title and you name the exact game it's in, obviously I'll give you a point because why would I punish you for knowing that? Covers count. I will give the artist's name along with the song, but if another band or if a character in the game sings that song, that counts too.
Okay.
It's possible I may mention a song featured in Rock Band or Guitar Hero, any of those games. Should that happen, you can get credit if you name the game the song is in. However, you cannot say the words Rock Band DLC. Harmonix added downloadable tracks to Rock Band almost every week from November of 2007 until April of 2013, returned in 2015, and went on to release new tracks almost every week from October of 2015 to January 25th, 2024. The Harmonix team is now dedicating all their resources to Fortnite Festival. More on that later. The point is, that encompasses nearly 2,800 songs released over 17 years, so we're not counting those. You cannot say Rock Band DLC.
I actually was going to do that. I need to rethink my whole strategy now.
Yeah. Another rule. You cannot say the N-word. Ever.
Okay. I think I can do that.
Great. Yeah. It's hard for a lot of people. If you ever say the N-word at any time, you will be disqualified. Okay. This rule extends beyond the segment. You cannot ever say the N-word or you forfeit all of your points.
Okay, noted.
Any questions?
Noted. Noted is not the word, right? I can say that one, right?
That one is fine.
Okay, thank God. Okay. Noted.
It is the first word in a Jay-Z and Kanye song, and you can't say that word.
Okay, got it.
So let's do a practice round.
Okay.
Make sure the game is familiar to you.
Yes.
Ain't That a Kick in the Head, as made famous by Dean Martin?
I believe that is in Fallout New Vegas.
You are correct, so you get a point. If you had said Mafia 2, The Godfather 2 video game, or Sync Party, you also would have gotten a point.
Sync as in S-I-N-K?
Sing.
Oh, Sing Party.
Sync Party.
I remember that game. Yeah.
Do you remember Sync Party? You ever play that game?
Yeah. I play that game all the time.
Yeah. It's the game I play whenever I have to bathe one of my cats, and it sucks.
Oh, we do it in the shower. We just tell them to grow up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So, like I said, I tried my best to include music from games I'm pretty sure you played by artists I'm pretty sure you know. I hope this goes well for you, Will.
Okay.
You ready?
Me too, for the record. Yes, I'm ready.
All right. A song no one has ever played before in any media ever. Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Because I feel like there's multiple.
There is. That's your first hint. You can have a hint, and it's in more than one game.
If I said Guitar Hero, I have to get the exact Guitar Hero, right?
Yeah. I'll say for a full point, yes.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like it's in one of those. I'm going to say Guitar Hero 3.
It's in Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock.
Okay.
It's also in Call of Duty Black Ops, BioShock Infinite, Grand Theft Auto 5, and one of the re-releases.
Yeah.
Mafia 3. If you had said any of those...
I didn't play the Mafia games.
Yeah. A lot of songs in Mafia, apparently. If you guess Mafia, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah.
Maybe. Who's to say? Okay. Take On Me by Aha.
That is in GTA 5, right? Am I blowing this? Okay, for the record, I know it's in also a Rock Band and a Guitar Hero. Or a Guitar Hero. But I don't want to say that for all of those.
It's not in GTA 5.
Is it in 4?
No, it's not in a Grand Theft Auto game, actually. It is in an open world video game, but it's in a lot of video games. And I know you've played at least one of them.
Oh, I definitely have. But now that I'm put on the spot, I'm like, I'm ruining it.
It's okay.
An open world video game with a radio?
Yeah, that's one. A lot of open world video games with radios, actually, now that I'm scrolling through this.
Is it in a Far Cry game? Do those games have radio?
They do. In the list I'm looking at, it's not in
This is a guess. This isn't me being like, yeah, it's in those games.
You can keep going. You can keep guessing.
Just Cause.
It's not in that.
Saints Row.
All right. You're in the series. You're in the series now.
Okay. 2.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We're here to have fun. Here's the thing. The prize is nothing.
Oh. Then I'm gonna sell then for sure.
You're gonna sell. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I Ran So Far Away by British new wave band A Flock of Seagulls.
Okay, that one is in GTA 5.
Not GTA 5.
No way. No, it's gotta be in GTA 5.
I'm not seeing it in the GTA soundtrack. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. So is it in 4?
No. What is it is an 1982 song.
So Vice City?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
I gotta fact check this because I swear to God that song is in GTA 5. Our research teams are getting on this. No?
I'm now checking the GTA wiki, and it says, I ran so far away as una canción que de tocará por el grupo A Flock of Seagulls y que no solo aparece como soundtrack de Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
So just Vice City.
That's what I'm seeing here in the, for some reason, Spanish language version of the Grand Theft Auto Wikipedia.
Thus far, basically, I'm 1 for 3.
So far,
0 for 3 because I didn't say Warriors of Rock.
It's okay.
But I lump in Warriors of Rock with Guitar Hero 3 for some reason.
You know, there was a lot of these rhythm games coming out around the same time.
Yeah.
I'm making it a little difficult for you on that front. What about this song, Police Truck by Dead Kennedys?
Okay, that is in a Tony Hawk.
Yes.
Which one? Pro Skater 1?
Correct.
Hey, there we go.
You did it.
God, I'm so good at this game now.
Hell yeah. This won't turn around at all. Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine.
Guitar Hero 2.
Correct. You got
Let's go.
Let's go. There you go.
I'm on a streak.
You are. You're on a streak. You're on a streak. Feel Good Inc. by Gorillaz featuring De La Soul, another band I love. 2 bands I love, actually. I love De La Soul and Gorillaz.
I know for a fact I've heard it on a game, but that's a game where I didn't hear it on a game for the first time, so like I've heard it so many places. GTA 5?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I would say
I'm so good at this.
You're doing well. You're doing well.
How many of these do you have? Do you have like 100?
I have 1 million.
Oh.
You said you know every song, and I'm doing every song now.
I do.
All right.
I hope none of these start with B.
So, you know what? None of them do. All right.
Thank God.
I got 3 more songs for you.
Okay.
And a bonus round. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to count the ones where you had to do multiple guesses for. We'll just do one guess.
Okay.
But I'll give you a redemption round. How's that?
Okay, yeah. I'm cool with that.
All right. I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire by the Ink Spots.
It's multiple, but I always forget exactly which. I'm going to say Fallout 3.
It is in Fallout 3. You got it. That's a point. All right. So, right now, we got Police Truck, Killing in the Name, Feel Good Inc. I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire. That's a 4-game hot streak.
Let's go.
2 more songs I got for you.
5 more until I get my Precision Airstrike.
Yeah. White Wedding by Billy Idol.
Guitar Hero World Tour.
Incorrect. Will, I'm a little disappointed in you because it's in the game that we're talking about today.
Is it? I thought that was Rebel Yell. Did I get them confused? Is Rebel Yell in World Tour?
I don't have that song in front of me, but yeah, it's in Rock Band 2. It is in Guitar Hero Van Halen for some fucking reason.
I didn't play that bullshit.
Apparently it had songs not by Van Halen in it, so maybe you missed out.
Yeah, maybe I did.
All right.
Yeah, okay, Rebel Yell is in World Tour. So my bad, I got my Billy Idol songs mixed up.
It's okay, you broke the streak, but hey.
Any man, it happens to any man.
It happens. Last song I have is Car Seat Headrest.
Oh no.
Sober to Death.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it's in a. Have I played this video game for sure?
For sure. I have checked the gaming chat in your Discord, and you have played this game before. So that's your hint. You have played this game in the gamer Discord.
No way it's in Minecraft.
No, you didn't. Since you said no way it's in Minecraft, that doesn't count. And also, no, it's not in Minecraft. Since you said no way it's in Minecraft, we're doing grammar here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that wasn't a guess. That was just me making a statement. No way Sober to Death is in Minecraft.
And it isn't.
Thank God. Can I phone a friend?
No, you may not.
Okay. I was going to call Will Toledo.
Yeah.
I was going to be like, hey,
the other Will.
Can you help me out here? I don't know.
Fortnite.
Oh, really?
It's in Fortnite. Yes, if you use the Fortnite radio in game, you can just listen to the mirror to mirror version of Sober to Death.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. I don't think I've ever. I think if I heard that song in the game, I would turn it off. Like,
yeah, it's okay. There's a redemption round. So
okay, sweet.
I have pulled up the video game soundtrack for NBA 2K11.
Okay.
I want you to name as many songs as you can off that soundtrack. You'll get a point for each one.
Oh no. Okay.
You'll get a point for each one. You don't have to get as many as you missed, but
how many did I miss? How many was that? 4 or 5?
So, Fortunate Son, Take on Me, I Ran So Far Away, and Sober to Death. So you would need 4 to break even. Oh, so wait, you got White Wedding wrong too. So 5 to break even.
5. Okay, cool.
And it's NBA 2K11.
Okay. Starting now?
Yes.
That's excellent. Okay. Over by Drake.
You got one.
Okay, cool. I literally just had one in my Symphonies by Dan Black featuring Kid Cudi.
You got it. That's 2.
Okay.
Great song.
Serious by the Alan Parsons Project.
Yes.
Cool.
The Chicago Bulls theme song version specifically, but I'm still giving you the point.
Oh God. Oh God. I don't remember the name of the song, but the artist name is Big Rock Candy Mountain. Can you tell me the name of that? Because I'm not going to guess it.
Rocket Ship.
Yeah, I wouldn't guess that. I just remember the band, and I always look up the band whenever I listen or want to listen to the song.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of all the songs. I just can't think of the song titles. There's one that's like, "Can you think of a single thing you've done that's meant anything at all?" What?
I'm tempted to give you the point just for getting that.
I could damn near do the whole song. There's a part in it that's really good, and it's like, "Where's my sandwich? There's my sandwich.
Where's my sandwich? There's my sandwich."
God, I'm folding.
You giving up?
I'm at 3 though, right?
You're at 3? You don't have to go for 5.
Yeah, I think I might have to settle.
All right. If we close the account now, I will sign you up for some crypto email spam. That's the kicker. Since you didn't guess all 5, it was me, the author of all your pain.
I'm pulling up the 2K11 soundtrack right now, and then I'm gonna be like, "Oh yep, 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 oh yep, yep, yeah." I Can Talk was on that. Yep. Champions by Ron Artest. I didn't get Ron Artest's song. Oh my God.
It's okay. I asked you 10 song titles, including Ain't That a Kick in the Head as the practice round. I'll give you a point for that. Cool. So you got 5 wrong, you got 5 right, and you got 3 bonus points. So you got 8 out of 10. That's a B, which is a letter you often struggle with. So that's great that you got that, honestly. That's your prize. You get a B.
I hope I'm not allergic to them.
Oh, no. Add a 12 to that, you got some good vitamins.
Ooh, let's go.
All right. So thank you for playing my little game, Will. It was very fun doing that. Hope I can play Jukebox Hero again when a video game soundtrack becomes relevant again in the show. Who's to say when, though? But hey, now that we're done playing my game, it's time to talk about the game that you picked, a game that is very emblematic of a specific time during the video game industry, a time that no longer really exists. And it is definitely a worthwhile topic we can talk about. You talked about a very complicated video game, really deep. But this one is known for its simplicity and brought people who didn't ordinarily play video games into the video game realm. And we are going to talk about Rock Band 2. This episode's not going to have a lot of music in it because I don't want to get sued and DMCA'd or regular MCA'd because there's a Beastie Boys soundtrack on here, a song on the soundtrack, and I love the Beastie Boys, by the way.
So what you want?
So what you want? Yep. No point for
Is
that.
that a point?
Good thing I didn't pull up the entire soundtrack and be like, guess all 84 songs now. I gave you one already. You got it wrong.
I know.
Rock Band 2 is a music video game developed by Harmonix. I won't go over the entire history of this company, but I do want to hit some things that led to the creation of today's game. Harmonix is a Boston, Massachusetts-based company known primarily for developing video games around music and rhythm. Prior to this game, they were best known for developing the Karaoke Revolution series of video games, as well as creating Guitar Hero, developing the first two games in the Guitar Hero series, and Guitar Hero Encore rocked the 80s. The Guitar Hero series emerged as a result of Red Octane, a company known for creating video game accessories like dance mats for Dance Dance Revolution, approaching Harmonix to develop a rhythm game built around the use of a guitar-shaped controller they had designed in response to the popularity of the Konami arcade game Guitar Freaks. The success of Guitar Hero prompted Activision to purchase Red Octane for $100 million in order to acquire the rights to the series in 2006. The Activision-owned Neversoft, known for their work on the Tony Hawk series, big day for them on this podcast, would be the developers for future Guitar Hero games. Harmonix, however, was not a part of this purchase. MTV Networks acquired Harmonix for $175 million from their parent company, Viacom. Under MTV Networks, Harmonix developed Rock Band, and while the core gameplay of hitting scrolling music notes in time with the music was similar to that of Guitar Hero, the game used 3 types of controllers instead of just the one in Guitar Hero. The guitar controller worked for guitar and bass, and 2 additional peripherals were made for drums and vocals, allowing up to 4 players to play at the same time. Whereas in Guitar Hero up to that point, you couldn't have more than 2 people playing at a time. The first Rock Band game released in November of 2007, the success of which resulted in a sequel, today's game, releasing in September of 2008. Rock Band 2 features the master recordings of 84 songs. And all but 3 of the first game's songs could be imported into the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions of the game, provided you had a copy of the previous game and paid a $5 fee. The previous game's controllers were forward compatible, but updated versions were created for Rock Band 2's release. These new controllers were also compatible with the first game. Game modes like Score Duel, Tug of War, and Quick Play were carried over from the first game. Solo Tour and Band World Tour has been consolidated into a single tour mode, allowing 1 to 4 players to participate both locally and online. Rock Band 2 was released in 2008. Let's paint a picture of 2008 real quick. George W. Bush is in his last year of his second term.
Famous painter
George W. Bush, yeah. Not as good as your baby, but still.
Not even close.
The economy is at its worst since the Great Depression. And this is usually the time where I talk about some other games released in 2008. And I'll get there in a second. But in the spirit of this being an episode about music, and it being a silly episode, I also wanted to pull up the list of the top 10 best-selling albums in the US in 2008.
What are they?
The top 10 albums sold in the United States, according to Billboard, are number 10, I Am Sasha Fierce by Beyonce. 9, Sleep Through the Static, Jack Johnson. 8, Paper Trail, T.I. 7, Death Magnetic, Metallica, featured prominently in the Guitar Hero series. 6, Taylor Swift. 5, Black Ice, AC/DC. 4, Rock and Roll Jesus, Kid Rock.
No way. 4th?
Unfortunately.
Damn.
3, Fearless, Taylor Swift. 2, Viva La Vida or Death and All His Friends, Coldplay. You could not walk more than 10 feet outside your house without hearing Viva La Vida by Coldplay at the time. So I believe that. Yeah. Good song. Don't care for the album.
No comment.
The Carter 3, Lil Wayne. That makes sense. The Carter 3 was a phenomenon. Massive. Yeah, man. What do you think of that list holistically?
I think that it is probably the craziest list that probably like since then. I don't know if there's been that like crazy range of just like. I guess what I'm saying is Kid Rock hasn't been on a list since then.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be on certain lists for sure.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, have you heard his music?
I doubt that Jack Johnson has been on a list since then.
Yeah, I mean, he
I
seems too.
know. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was about to say he seems too boring to be on the kind of list that Kid Rock will be on.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't sing any songs about statutory, so there's that. Kid Rock sang a song on the Osmosis Jones soundtrack. Where he references having sex with underage girls. So that's the kind of person he is.
And that was like 10 years before. What was it called? Rock and Roll Jesus?
Yeah, Rock and Roll Jesus was 2008.
I don't know.
Fourth best-selling album of the time.
That's so crazy.
Other games released in 2008 include Audio Surf, Call of Duty World at War, Gears of War 2, Saints Row 2, Fallout 3, Grand Theft Auto 4, Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots, Boom Blocks, a Steven Spielberg/EA game, Mario Kart Wii, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and Wii Fit. Will, have you played any of these games?
I have. First off, what a year for numbers. There were a lot of numbers in there.
Numbers, yeah. Big year.
What was the first one you said?
Audio Surf.
I've never heard of that.
You've never heard of Audio Surf?
No.
It was a game where you uploaded music tracks and you had like this, I don't know what to call it, like a little spaceship, and you would like play it along the track and you would try and collect colors to go up the road. It was very interesting. It's a very 2008-esque game.
I've never heard of it.
I'm sure like it would be very popular to play on Twitch now, provided you don't get DMCA'd.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Very
I've
interesting.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played the ones that everybody played, you know. Well, yeah. I'm popular. So.
Your Call of Duties, your Gears of Wars, your Fallout 3s, your Grand Theft Auto 4s.
Yeah, I played all those.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what songs were on their soundtracks, evidently, but
yeah, I mean, you got the ink spots.
I got the What else do you need to get?
Yeah, and look, it was a very big time in the middle of the financial crisis. Everyone was like, "Let's put out as many music games as possible because that seems like what people need right now." So, some other peripheral-based video games in 2008 include, but aren't limited to, SingStar, a karaoke game for the PlayStation 3. Wii Music, a game that certainly existed and we certainly owned in my home.
Same.
End of thought.
Yep.
Guitar Hero Aerosmith. Guitar Hero On Tour, the Nintendo DS Guitar Hero game where you plugged a peripheral into the Game Boy Advance slot of your Nintendo DS and had a bunch of commercials where different celebrities were doing the Risky Business dance. Have you ever seen Risky Business, by the way? It is a very...
I've only seen the scene.
The rest of the movie is not like that. The rest of the movie is like if a Michael Mann film happened to the teenager. Like that scene is supposed to emphasize that at this point in time, Tom Cruise is just currently a loser, just chilling around the house while his parents aren't home. And then shit goes crazy.
I've never seen... So are they all just doing the same thing? Just like the slide out and they're just playing the...
Oh, the commercial?
Yeah. I've never seen those, I don't think.
Yeah, I remember these commercials vividly because there was no other way for me, a child, to just know what Risky Business was.
Yeah. It was referenced so heavily in like media back then.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Not only did Guitar Hero On Tour come out, but Guitar Hero On Tour Decades, a sequel using the same peripheral, came out the same year because, hey, the Christmas season's out. Let's put some more songs on there. Guitar Hero World Tour, which introduced drums and microphones to the Guitar Hero series. Wonder what inspired that decision. And yeah, Activision and Neversoft just went hard in the paint for Guitar Hero in 2008. Seems stable, and clearly peripheral-based rhythm games are here to stay. One more game I wanted to share from this year before we get to talk about the game that you actually picked. There was also Guitar Praise, a Guitar Hero clone featuring contemporary Christian music.
No way.
So the good Christian gamers can finally get in on the peripheral rhythm game fun. And if you're familiar with contemporary Christian music because you too were raised by a good Christian woman, I know exactly what you're thinking. And the answer is yes. Whatever late 90s, early 2000s Christian rock act you're thinking of, they're here. Reliant K, they're in. Toby Mac, Fairfax's own Toby Mac. Not only is he there, but his previous band, DC Talk, is also on there. And you better believe his music was blasting on the Virginia Christian radio stations when I was a kid. Cutlass? Cut, yes, they're in here. Casting Crowns, you bet your sweet Bippy, they're here. Newsboys, they're in, and extra tracks were added in the expansion pack. Skillet, the hard rock Christian band Skillet, multi-platinum artist Skillet, whose music is featured in a 2011 film, Transformers Dark of the Moon. Yeah, they're in Guitar Praise. Striper, the Christian metal band, not in the base game, but you can buy the Guitar Praise Striper expansion pack and get 25 Striper songs to celebrate the band's
25
to celebrate the band's 25th anniversary in 2008.
I have never seen this before in my life.
It was a PC game, so you had to plug that controller into the computer.
What choice was that?
Play your Reliant K. None of that satanic music from the likes of the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
For real.
Call
they
me
need
when
to get their flyleaf.
Yeah. Call me when they're called the Lord Almighty Mighty Boss Tones.
That's funny.
The only Grateful Dead I know are the ones who get to go to heaven. Imagine a kid who's like, they're not allowed to play Rock Band 2 because it has the devil's music, but they're allowed, you can, but only the 2 tracks that are godly, which are Spirit in the Sky and Living on a Prayer. Can't play the other ones.
Yeah.
None of that devil music.
I would actually cut up Spirit in the Sky if that was me.
Like they pay $160+ goddamn dollars, but they can only play the 2 tracks they're good Christian home.
I didn't realize that was a Christian song until a couple months ago, and Annie was like, "Yeah, that's a Christian song," and I was like, "No, it's not.
It's Christian enough."
What are you talking about? Yeah, no, it 100%. It's like
unless a bird died, I don't know.
It's possible.
It's about airplanes.
Yeah. Ooh, yes. Spirit Airlines.
Yeah. Will, what ultimately made you decide on Rock Band 2 to talk about today?
So I knew I wanted to talk about a rhythm game. I would say that Rock Band 2 is probably the one I put the most time in. It's probably between that and Guitar Hero World Tour. But I always just thought that Rock Band was like, I don't know if it was better because they were basically the same games. Mm-hmm. But like I always felt more connected to Rock Band because it was cooler to me. They had drums first. That's what I cared about. Mm-hmm. And also, like, all the menus and everything were just, like, cooler. You know, it felt like you were an 8-year-old playing a concert to 60 people, like, you know. And Guitar Hero, it always felt like you were playing a game, which is still good. Like, I love both. It's just, like, Rock Band just felt cooler to me, to my little 8-year-old brain.
I mean, I get that.
Or 10-year-old for Rock Band 2, I guess. But
yeah. I mean, it was a game that, like, you had your avatar on the screen. You could, like, watch them do the performance. I mean, and Guitar Hero would eventually catch up and add these things in there, further confusing grandparents and aunts everywhere. Like, you have a point there about, like, the games looking more cool. Like, they were really making conscious design decisions to make it distinct, but also more memorable. Like, they were using master tracks instead of, like, the original Guitar Hero games. They were just doing very elaborate covers and make them sound as close to the original as possible, which is an impressive feat, a very impressive feat. I'm not trying to undermine that. I think that is incredible considering that the low budget that the first Guitar Hero game had. But they were really like, yeah, we got fucking $100+ goddamn $1 million and we work under MTV, the music television thing. We got the masters now. We got this. They were really trying to position themselves as like the cooler, more modern option.
I think it works. But then, like, I do think when Guitar Hero made World Tour, like, I mean, they needed to, obviously, but like,
yeah,
I do think that they like kind of caught up. And then I feel like as soon as they both like hit their stride, everything crashed. You know, like
the economy, you know?
Well, yeah.
And then releasing multiple goddamn games in a year, that'll do it.
It definitely will.
Yeah. Let's go back in time a little bit. Remember the financial crisis and everything. Will, what was your first encounter with this rhythm game phenomenon?
So my first encounter was I like calling him a rich kid, but they probably just made, you know, 80,000 or something a year. Like,
yeah, your lower class elitism is showing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's still rich. 'Cause we were poor, as they say. He lived down the street and he had a basement. So that's automatically a sign of, you know, wealth and class and everything.
You got a room in the ground.
Yeah, literally. Anyhow, he had Guitar Hero. And that was the first time I ever played it. It was Guitar Hero 1. And I went over there and I was like, this is changing my life. This is awesome. So I immediately not immediately, but I had my dad take me to our local Family Video so I could rent Guitar Hero 2, I think. And then I didn't have a guitar controller, so I played it on a controller. I played it on a PS2 controller.
Whoa.
And you just like hit the buttons with, like X was green or whatever, So that's how I played it for the first like couple months. And then I eventually begged my dad to buy me the guitar bundle for Guitar Hero 2. And the way that I was able to do it is because I convinced him that it would teach me how to play guitar.
Oh man.
Yeah. Spoiler, it didn't. But
yeah.
I recently learned how to play guitar. So in a way, it kind of did.
20-year investment,
Yeah, literally. And then I got Rock Band 1 for one of my birthdays. It must have been 8 or 9. And then we had a party, as you do when you're a child. And all the other children were there. And we all played Rock Band together. And like ever since that moment, I had been like, longing for that again. Like,
sure.
It's so fun, and it was just so rare that like we would get to play all together. But yeah, I don't know. It was beautiful. It's a beautiful experience because it's fun to play those games solo, but then when you play them like as a party game, it's incredible. It unlocks their potential.
Yeah, these weren't games that I personally owned. I had Wii Music, which didn't need any.
You
peripherals.
basically had it. You basically had it.
If a game with no fail states and just let you sort of do whatever you want, and the also Mii's are there,
Yeah.
Interesting. But no, there was definitely a thing with Rock Band where one, it seemed really cool. And the fact that you could play with up to 4 people in the room with you and you're using facsimiles of instruments.
Yeah.
That felt really, really cool. There's just something communal about it because it was, the Wii was out at this point, which, Wii Sports was this kind of game, a communal game where like it could meet everybody at their level. It was a casual experience that linked gamer with non-gamer. Parents, aunts and uncles, people who had never touched a video game before were able to play games like Wii Sports or Rock Band because there was a simplicity to it. They could at least do the vocals, if anything, and Intuit what they can do because there's only hit the buttons with the rhythm.
Right. I wasn't really interested in drums until I played Rock Band. And then from then I was just like obsessed with drums as a kid.
Yeah.
And then I didn't play drums at all for like 10 years. And then like 6 months ago or so, I went to our local... Do you guys have Disc Replay?
I don't think so.
Something similar? Okay. It's just like a secondhand, like used, like game, movies, all of that.
Yeah, we have like things like Books A Million over here.
Okay, then yeah, it's probably the same thing.
Yeah.
I went there probably like 6 or 7 months ago, one day on a day off, and I was just like, fuck it. I'm going to buy a Rock Band drum set. And I'm just going to hook it up to my computer and play like old Rock Band games and everything. And then I did that for like a couple weeks. It was $90, by the way.
On the cheap side, honestly.
It really was. So I played that for a couple weeks and then I was like, fuck it. I'm going to buy an actual like drum e-kit. So then I spent $400 and bought an actual like drum set, but it's electronic so I can hook it up. And now I play that for my like Clone Hero and, Rock Band and all of that. So like, I will say, even though the guitar thing doesn't translate, the drums, it actually translates and you can like learn drums from playing these games.
Yeah.
At the very least, you can get rhythm.
Yeah. Because I know like they don't have cymbals and there's more elaborate kits than just 4 drums, but they're like the closest in approximation compared to the guitar, right?
They actually did have cymbals.
Yeah, they did have cymbals in some of the Guitar Hero World Tour,
add-ons.
I think, or one of those kinds of games had cymbals for some of them.
The Guitar Hero set had cymbals, and then Rock Band ended up making a cymbal set that had 2 cymbals, I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, 3? I don't remember.
3, they got really weird with it. They had a keyboard with 3.
Yeah, I know. I recently bought one on eBay for my friend Thornton for Christmas, so I don't think he's really used it that much, but they're way cheaper than everything else. They were like $20, so.
Yeah. What did you main? I guess you main the drums then? Yeah,
I definitely main drums, but like the other thing we would do is in my friend's basement whenever we would play, he had we were like 4'2". How tall is a child?
I don't know. I don't go up to children and measure them. They don't let me.
We were child height.
Mhm.
and they had bar stools that were basically our height. So we would wrap the microphone cable around the bar stool and use it as like a microphone stand. And so then we could play guitar and sing at the same time.
Yeah, so at least that's short.
Yeah, but I mained drums, I would say, but like I would find a way to dabble in all of them.
Sure.
So
Yeah, no, I really like glommed onto the drums too. And at first it was just because like it was a visual thing. Like I don't have to look at the obviously like what buttons you have to press are in front of you and you just like intuit that with the thing. But like learning, it just felt to me like the drums were the fast way of learning that. And
yeah,
I think the general consensus is like that's actually the harder instrument to play of the options, based on what I remember at least. But
yeah,
to me, it just made the most sense.
yeah, same. I don't know. I started with rock band and then I went to middle school percussion.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to try out for middle school percussion.
Oh yeah, I
So
remember this.
I was so good
Yeah,
that I was so good for my rock band practices
yeah.
that I made it.
The percussion people were like the jocks of our band group, at
Yeah,
least.
that's how it was for us too.
The cool guys. It was like I was bottom level. I was woodwinds because I played clarinet, and then
Yeah.
like upper on the coolness tier were the brass because they were the loud people playing trumpets and trombone and whatnot. Saxophones, even though they were on the woodwind side, they got to be part of the cool people too because shiny instrument. And then
Yeah.
the cool kids in the back who get to stand in class all day and hit their loud ass things. Yeah, those were the cool guys.
That's
Relative.
literally how it was. No, it's not actually relative. We were cool.
Yeah.
So
No.
we were actually very, very cool.
Yeah.
I would say saxophone was like right on that level though. Because saxophone is objectively cool. Anytime I hear a sax in a song, I'm like, yeah, that's a good addition.
We elected a freak to the presidency on the strength of his sax ability.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
He's basically Springsteen, but
He basically is.
Every guy feels like Springsteen when they're playing the saxophone, at least. So
yeah.
Yeah.
You ever been to New Jersey?
What?
You ever been to New Jersey?
I've driven through New Jersey.
That's what's up.
No, I've driven through the New Jersey Turnpike, and I have stopped for gas, and then a guy pumped my gas for me, and I did not care for that at all. Because like, what am I supposed to do?
They do that there? I thought that it was just like Oregon or some shit that did.
Oregon doesn't do that anymore. I think Jersey.
My bad. I'm not caught up.
Yeah, I think Jersey's like the last man standing in terms of having other people pump their own gas for you. I guess they can't be trusted or what.
Yeah. Do you think there's somebody that lives in New York that like crosses state lines just to get gas because they're like, I don't want to deal with it?
That'd be a very funny person.
Yeah.
He's like, quarter tank. I don't know if I can make it.
Yeah.
He's just like going up to a guy. Can you pump my gas for me, please? Please, I'm begging.
It's like, not until you cross the line, buddy.
I don't know. I don't know how to do it. Please. Fucking anyway. When I had you on the show last time, you made no mention of the Rock Band games. Why the fuck were you holding out on me?
I don't know. I guess it's really just because like I was in cowboy mode, you know?
True. And honestly, it is a very distant time now relative to like the history of video games. This is a bygone era. You just talked about how 6 months ago you lucked out in having to pay a mere $90 for a controller that for
basically
a
toy.
A toy.
Like,
a big toy that you have to keep in your closet whenever you're not using for space.
Yep.
For a game that is no longer in circulation. And this is ordinarily the part of the show where I would jump into the No Country for Old Games segment and talk about how readily this game is today, but we're being a little silly today, and I'm going to hold off on that for now. But don't worry, we'll get there. For now, I'll just say Rock Band 2 was a popular and beloved game, selling over 2 million units. It holds a 92 out of 100 on the review aggregation website Metacritic, but we're not here to reduce the success of Rock Band 2 to a series of numbers and sales figures. We're here to talk about what this game meant to somebody who played it. So let's get into that, Will.
Do you miss getting kicked in the face at Warped Tour?
Did you shatter your glasses in a mosh pit in 2007?
Did you wear more studded belts than a Final Fantasy character?
Then we have the show for you.
We are So Emo I Fell Apart, a podcast about third wave emo, late night live journal updates, burnt hair, and everything in between.
Join us every second Saturday as we examine major moments in the history of emo and keep you updated on current events.
Because it was never a phase.
What do you like about Rock Band 2? And what does it do that you wish more games would do?
I want to say everything. It's like,
Yeah.
I really do. Like, maybe it's just like the time in which it was. Because, like, I'm sure if I went back and I played like Rock Band 2 on like, you know, a PS3 or something right now, I'd probably be like, oh, this feels like dog shit. Like, this is awful. But at that time, it felt like the perfect like culmination of every other rhythm game and what they were trying to do. It was just like a perfect presentation and like perfect gameplay.
I mean, to your point, I don't think it's a game that can age poorly so long as the controllers are functional because it is so simple to enjoy. I don't think that game fell out of popularity necessarily because like it got bad. Like the gameplay just got bad so much. It's just like there's too many of these goddamn things, and
yeah,
this takes up so much space. The economy is in shambles.
Yeah, if that game would have came out like 5 years earlier, I don't know. It might have had a safer bet at longevity. Because, like, I feel like everything wasn't getting milked as hard as it was. Like, because even Tony Hawk games were getting milked, but, like, they were still coming out every year or every other year. Don't fact check me on that. There might have been two.
There was a lot of regularity with releases, and part of that is because the development time was just shorter. You could make a full video game and release it, building off the engine that you had on previous installments. Certainly, this is the time where it became very standard to have yearly releases. This is going into from the PlayStation 2 into the PlayStation 3 era. So many annual sports release games, and like now that has become passé, and you have to have multiple studios working on franchises to keep up with the demands. I think by this time, Infinity Ward and Treyarch were alternating Call of Duty games.
I think they were, yeah.
Even then, like, again, they had templates to build off of, and these were games that were easy to develop for, and that ultimately became to their detriment because they're just like, well, bam, another one, boom. Oh, we just got to get some things to go down the screen. Great, awesome game, and we got to pay for the music rights. Awesome, cool. We're MTV. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I understand why this saturated itself, and I understand like why it burned brightly for the short period of time that it did, but it was a thing that sort of shot itself in the foot because the equipment, as long as you kept track of it, you didn't have to keep rebuying it, and nobody was going to want to buy multiples if they didn't have to. So it was hard to profit off of these games, and it was also hard to justify keeping this stuff in your home for so long, especially as like you switch consoles.
With that said, like my family, we had Rock Band equipment, like full band equipment on both PS2 and Wii. And I had multiple guitars for like both systems too. And at some point, in the last 15 years or whatever, we got rid of them because like that's what everybody basically did. They were just like, oh, this is dead. We don't need this anymore. It takes up space. And now it's like, oh, God, I wish I had those. Like, wow. It's another, what did I say earlier? I said one man's junk folder or spam. One man's spam.
There's an actual saying for this.
No, I created it. One man's Rock Band equipment is another man's Rock Band equipment.
Yeah. The appeal of this game is also its like own doom because like it's a game with its own peripherals and it's attractive to use as a party game, but it is also like you have to keep it within the series. You can obviously like mod these things and plug them in and play Dark Souls with the drums if you want to, but what were we doing back then that we needed to justify using the same controllers? People wanted their own proprietary equipment to use on their own games, so you wouldn't like you said, like you had to use the Wii and the PlayStation ones because they were two completely different systems.
Right.
Yeah, no, but this is a game that's like the appeal that brought people in wasn't the gaminess of it so much. It's just like the music part. So let's talk about the music because what brought people in was like, I know this song, and it had enough of a variety in the tracks that it played. Like it was mostly rock music. It definitely had some poppier tracks. It definitely had some deep cuts in there, but this was a series that brought people into the gaming sphere because of something outside of it. And I do think that is remarkable. Like obviously up to this point, like there are plenty of games that had licensed music in them, your Tony Hawks and whatever, but this is the game where the draw is you are playing the music that you love. What tracks did you like from Rock Band 2?
So a lot of songs I heard for the first time on Rock Band 2. Let's see. I heard Kids in America, but I think I heard what? That was definitely in some like kids show or
the Jimmy Neutron movie.
Is it really?
Something
That's
like that.
That's what I was thinking.
That's what it feels like. I think it was in the Jimmy Neutron movie.
Does it play in the scene where all the parents are gone and Sheen pees in the shower?
I think
Is
so,
that the
yes.
song that's playing?
The Jonas Brothers also have a cover of it in the Meet the Robinsons movie.
Oh, then I'd heard it both places. So yeah, I'd heard that song before. That 9 in the Afternoon. That felt big because 9 in the Afternoon was like a radio hit, and then like it had like I felt like it had just came out when this game came out.
Yeah, it had like modern songs on there, but it didn't have it was a multi-generational thing. It was music for your dad, music for your mom, music for the kids.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah.
In terms of like songs that like it put me onto, PDA by Interpol.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Incredible song. That's off of Turn on the Bright Lights, which is like their big album that everyone generally agrees is their best. Most of my memories are with Rock Band Original, and that was like my first time like really truly listening to bands like Nirvana.
Yeah.
And Nirvana's represented here. I think my favorite Nirvana song is Drain You, actually, if I were like to look at their discography. At least at one point I would say that Drain You is my favorite song. Now I couldn't tell you. I love In Utero, I love Nevermind, I even love Incesticide. Like I love like the Unplugged album. I love all of Nirvana.
Nirvana has a song called Bloom, right? Or is it In Bloom?
In Bloom, which is on the first Rock
Damn
Band.
it. Yeah. Oh my god. I thought I had a B song. I was so close.
Here's the thing. There's only 3 B songs I'm seeing on like Rock Band 2 proper, so maybe this is your problem. Bad Reputation, Battery by Metallica, and Bodhisattva. I can't say that Steely Dan song. Bodhisattva? Point is 3 B songs. Don't blame you.
Yeah, PDA by Interpol, Lazy Eye, Silver Sun Pickup Song. Like, these are songs that I, like, still listen to. And I heard them for the first time when I was 9 on a Rock Band game, playing my little toys.
Do you have favorites besides those tracks? Or would you say, like, those are, like, I mean, those are the formative ones, but, like, if you look at this soundtrack holistically, we have, like I said, 84 songs. Most of them very popular. They did have a few indie tracks on there, some tracks that were made by people who worked at Harmonix and had like their own bands. But for the most part, they were going for mainstream appeal for different tastes. So you have things that are like modern hits like Float On by Modest Mouse. But you'd also have things from the 70s, Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac. Things from late 90s into the 2000s, your Systems of a Down, Chop Suey. Alive from Pearl Jam, that's a 90s track. I don't care for Pearl Jam personally. But
I don't care for Nirvana. I just wasn't going to say anything when you were talking because you seemed like you were really passionate.
I love Nirvana, and that's the first time I've ever heard somebody, at least in real life, say that they don't care for Nirvana. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't know. They just never really did it for me.
Yeah, well, so they're not making anything new for you, so.
Yeah. I love Alex Chilton by The Replacements.
I love The Replacements, and I would say that is one of my favorite tracks on here, for sure. Absolutely. Easy.
I never got super into them, but that song specifically, like, again, I heard it when I was 9, so like it's always kind of been with me. But I don't have a problem with them. I've just never done the deep dive. You know?
Yeah, if you want to get into them, they have an album. You may have heard of it by a different band. It's called Let It Be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but listen to The Replacements.
Oh, you mean the band from the Rock Band game?
Yeah, but Replacements also have an album called Let It Be, and it is one of my favorite records ever. And I recommend anybody who wants to get into Replacements to listen to that. I think it's a good start.
Noted.
Yeah, that'll be my recommendation at the end of the episode.
Okay, cool. I love Feel the Pain by Dinosaur Jr.
Great song, great track. Again, probably in my top 5.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a 5th here. I guess Psycho Killer?
Psycho Killers, again, I would put that up there. I'm a huge Talking Heads fan. Go Your Own Way, Fleetwood Mac. I mean, who can deny anything from that era of Fleetwood Mac? That's awful. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna get rid of which one did I just say?
That's the great bonus material content we could do is just like go on stream and just do the tier ranking of every Rock Band song.
I absolutely would do that.
Yeah.
I'm putting You Ought to Know by Alanis Morissette in my top 5.
Great track.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to do a hard top 5, but if I were like doing a cursory look on the soundtrack again, because I couldn't go back and play Rock Band 2. I never owned the game. It was a game I played at friends' houses, but I'm very familiar with the game. Side note, actually, before I come back to this, my dad got really into Rock Band a full decade after the Rock Band thing had ended. I had come back from my junior year of college. This was in 2017. And I didn't see much of anybody during that time that summer because I was going to an internship for 40 hours a week for college credit. And every time I did stop by to see my dad, though, he was like, "Hey, what's going on? You want to play Rock Band?" And I'm like,
Oh my
I was
God.
doing like the Dale Cooper. What year is this thing? Because he had never really. He has these phases. He has hyperfixations. I think I know where I got it from. He would get really into something and like really stick with it. And once in a while, it would be a video game, like Road Rage, Road Rash, whatever it's called, the motorcycle game on the Sega Genesis. He made a Raspberry Pi so he could play that game wherever
Oh
he
my
went.
God.
It was very interesting. And then a few years later, he did this for Rock Band, and he got all of the Rock Band games in the PlayStation 3 ecosystem. So like he
Yeah.
had Rock Band 1, he had Rock Band 2, he had Rock Band 3, he had Beatles Rock Band. So he couldn't just like import everything into one Rock Band game. He had to go and put in Beatles Rock Band separately because
Right.
Beatles one of his favorite bands too. He's a dad, why wouldn't it be? But I would go over to his house. I am 21 years old. It is 2017. Trump has been president for multiple months at this point, and I'm at his house playing Rock Band because the thing did, and he got into it because he started working at this startup with a bunch of younger people, and the thing that they had in the break room was Rock Band set up. So he was playing Pokemon Go and Rock Band with these millennials
Oh
when he
my
was
God.
about 50, 51, 52 years old.
Like, did he play music? Like, was he in like a dad rock cover band type thing?
He loves music. He would go to karaoke like twice a week. He was into that, but
Okay.
he never actually played an instrument. He just liked to sing, and he liked that there was a video game where he could play drums and guitar and
Wow.
simulate playing music. But no, he had a huge rock band phase.
That's hilarious. That's me, like now, except I'm not 50. I'm,
Yeah, if he
25.
if he was
right?
aware of
Yeah.
Clone Hero, I'm sure he'd be on that because again, I'm sure the options are way more. He would go
Yeah.
down the Rock Band store and try and get what he could find. I think was the Rock Band 3 store still open at that point? I don't know.
It's still open now.
I know that Rock Band 4 is definitely.
Yeah. You can still, I think you can still buy them on there for all of them, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think Rock Band 1 and 2 they closed it down, and Rock Band 4 though is definitely had ongoing DLC up until January, like we said earlier.
Yeah, I didn't know that until like last November or something, like basically at the end, because I thought it was just dead.
Yeah, I'd assume too. Turns out, I feel bad now.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I've been playing Clone Hero for like 2 months, like heavily, and then I found out they're still making DLC. So
yeah, but yeah, I remember seeing him go down the store so he could try and find more tracks to add to his growing Rock Band collection. But yeah, no, going back to my favorite tracks, I had to tell that story because oh my god. No, I mean like this is a really solid soundtrack. I think I remember like the early tracks in Rock Band 1, like the stuff you played at the beginning. You had like Say It Ain't So by Weezer and
Yep.
Nirvana. But I do think this is a really strong because they had a challenge of not only making a sequel, but the idea of having to find songs conducive to a party setting where you could give like relative attention to the three things: the vocals, the drums, and the guitar, and follow up a game and have more songs. That's a challenge. And representing these various different, they had a lot that they had to do. Obviously, this is an easy game to quote unquote make on like a presentation level, but the work that they have to go to in curating these experiences cannot be dismissed.
Yeah, I would also say like I don't know if I want to say it's easy to make, because like it is easy to make. Like all of your assets are there. Like you have everything you need. Yeah, you do still have to make the charts for like
Absolutely, yeah.
all of these songs.
The easy, the medium, the hard, and the expert modes, and creating the different modes so they all work in those systems. And I would absolutely never dismiss those works, but like there's a lot of like invisible work that goes into making these experiences that go underappreciated.
Do you know about Rocksmith?
Mm-hmm.
I also I always knew about it, but I never really knew what it was until like a year or two ago, and then I was like, "Oh, that's crazy!"
Yeah.
Like
Rocksmith, for people who aren't aware, was a video game that tried to actually teach people how to play guitar using the same mechanics as a Rock Band or Guitar Hero.
It's still going.
Is it?
It's now a subscription service through Ubisoft.
Hate that.
Yep.
You gotta pay my money.
Everybody's pissed.
Gotta pay these fucking French fuckers so I can continue to learn how to play guitar.
Yeah, love Rock Band 2.
Rock Band 2, great game. No, PDA, definitely up there for me. Let's just say all the song names. Great content. Are there some tracks that you would say like I straight up do not like this song? I don't ever want to play this song again. I don't like listening to this song even.
Okay, I don't think that there's any that I'm like, wow, this is absolute trash. However, I will say, just kind of as a broad statement, I don't love Journey. Never did. They just never appealed to. I am a white man, but maybe I'm just like not of that age or something yet, because like they've never really appealed to me. So I think Any Way You Want It is the one on this, right?
Yeah, it's Any Way You Want It. They are they're a very specific band, and that specificity is every fucking commercial you've ever heard as a kid. Glee was also taking off around this time, so Don't Stop Believing was every fucking where. And my mom would listen to classic rock stations, which worked most of the time, but there's only so many times you can listen to Wheel in the Sky by Journey. A song that I never got sick of, and I think it's because it's associated weirdly with the Tron Legacy soundtrack to me, is Separate Ways by them. I'm like, yeah, I can listen to Separate Ways. I can listen to that song. I like the little synth line on that one. It's a pump up song. But yeah, no, Any Way You Want It just feels like, I mean, it sounds like music. It's not offensively bad. I just think like, it's music. It's normal music.
Yeah, and again, it's like, I think musically, like, they're talented, great vocals.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, Steve Perry, great vocalist, right? It's just not for me.
Let's hear it for Steve Perry one time.
There we go. But like at the same time, but I'm also a weirdo because I really like the song Cool for Cats by Squeeze.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
I love any song that's like bass driven. So like it's like, okay, it's fast and it's bassy. It's got like a very repetitive like chorus with like the girls like doing like the Cool for Cats. And I'm like, yeah, that's fun. I like fun. I enjoy this.
Yeah, it's because it is fun. Like Journey songs are, I guess, just trying to be good. They're not necessarily trying to be fun or something. I don't know. Maybe there's like a music theory scholar out there that can explain this.
Maybe, but for me, I would say like even though like Cool for Cats is a song that almost sounds like a commercial jingle, it's just like I like this. I like this silly little British song sung by a Cockney accent freak who's not really especially good at singing, but is going for it.
I love when someone can't sing.
Yeah,
I like legitimately love it. Maybe that's why I don't like Journey.
E-Pro by Beck.
Great.
Didn't appreciate Beck enough as a kid. Really like Beck now. Let's hear it for Beck.
Hey. What's Beck's actual name?
It's just Beck.
Oh, that's cool.
He was a Scientologist as a kid, so like he had just weird parents. No, his name's Beck Hansen.
He's one of the Hansen kids?
No. He just has the last name. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is
Chris Hansen one of the
yeah, he is, right?
To Catch a Predator?
He's the oldest brother, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's taking everything in me to not just go down the soundtrack and being like, yeah, oh yeah, that one. Oh hell yeah, Lump. Like
music. It's an excuse to talk about music.
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk about a song I don't like. Like actually don't like. Like Any Way You Want It is just like, yeah, that's a song. Eye of the Tiger, yeah, that's a song. But like here, I really hate Guns N' Roses. I'm tired of. I hate Guns N' Roses. Like they have not bad songs, but like I just do not care. You cannot make me like them, and defending them is extremely silly because they have everything working against them. As especially Axl Rose, specifically Axl Rose. I will not dismiss.
You will never catch me defending them.
/ very objectively talented artist.
Cool hats too.
Awesome.
So maybe I'm defending him.
Hold on. Maybe I've been looking at it from the wrong angle.
Yeah.
But I do not care about Guns N' Roses, and I do not like the song Shackler's Revenge. I understand the significance of this song being released through Rock Band 2 as part of their promotion for the long-awaited album Chinese Democracy, an album that is not good, but was much anticipated, and it is much more interesting to read about the making of Chinese Democracy than it is to listen to anything on Chinese Democracy. And that is probably one of the worst things you can say about an album, is that it's much more interesting to read about it. Yeah, no, don't like the song. I understand why it was cool that it happened, but no.
Straight up, I don't even remember it. If you played me any Guns N' Roses song right now, I'd be like, oh, is that Shackler's Revenge? Like,
you would never say that about any Guns N' Roses song because no one remembers Shackler's Revenge off of their discography. It is a song that's them trying to do something like kind of Nine Inch Nailsy, and they're a hair metal band. So why the fuck would they try that? You know, Pretty Hate Machine, the famous fucking hair metal album.
Do you think Guns N' Roses could make Downward Spiral?
No. Okay. You kidding me? No. No. I'm mad at you for even suggesting that.
I think that there should be more cover albums with like a band doing another album completely out of their wheelhouse.
Johnny Cash, you know, we're supposed to be talking about the Downward Spiral, right? Hurt is on the Downward Spiral. He has made a version of Hurt that is definitive. Like that is
he has? This is a new guy I'm working on.
A guy who's never heard of Johnny Cash has never heard of the Johnny Cash Hurt cover song. Yeah. The new guy. I'm Mr. Born Yesterday. Tell me more. Makes a version of Hurt that is far more famous than the original song. Probably more well known than the band Nine Inch Nails even.
Probably.
But Guns N' Roses has a cover of a song called Live and Let Die by Paul McCartney and Wings. It's a terrible fucking cover. I hate that cover. It is just the same song, but louder.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think...
That seems like their forte, though.
I do think that their career has been on a downward spiral since 1993. But
oh my God.
I don't think they could make... I don't think they could make March of the Pigs, no.
Okay, all right.
Weird songs on the soundtrack. Some things are like, that's very interesting that they included that on there. Because I have a couple takes on this, but I want to hear. I've talked enough. Tell me what you think is like a weird track.
Okay, I hadn't gone through the track list when I was thinking of this, so I'm kind of going through it now. I did have an answer, but it's DLC, so I'll wait for that.
I would say go for it, Will. It's all right.
Okay, cool. They had SpongeBob DLCs. It might have been Rock Band 3, but I'm pretty sure it was Rock Band 2.
Like Goofy Goober Rock, all that stuff?
Yeah, I think it was Goofy Goober, Best Day Ever. I think it had, you remember the Gary Come Home song? I think it had that one. Okay. And it was just like, why? Like, I'm glad that they had it. I was 9. I played the shit out of those.
We're millennials. I mean, millennial Zoomer cusps in our case, but like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Another story about my dad time. My dad was like the kind of person who would actually use touch tunes and pay money for it.
I can't say I haven't.
I can say I've never paid money on touch tunes personally, but I do not judge those who do. But my dad certainly made it into a habit, and a shocking amount of discretionary income spent on touch tunes. He just liked, being able to curate the music wherever he went.
Yeah.
A thing he liked to do, I was like, I'm going to do this and then leave, is play Best Day Ever by SpongeBob. Wherever, like every time there's a touch tunes, he'll always play that like right before he leaves. And then he like takes in like the reaction and he's like, all right, I'm going now. Let's go.
That's, I do that actually with Word Life. I think it's Basic Thugonomics is actually the name of the song by John Cena. So yeah, I actually, it's my most played song on touch tunes, and I basically do the same thing. So it is fun to do that. It is fun to hijack a public like speaker and make people listen to something.
Yeah, it is. It's power. I get it. It is a power trip to do that. And it's like, what is a song that I can like leave my mark with? What is a song that can make me feel like a villain? And you can't do What's New Pussycat because there's a famous John Mulaney bit off of that. So instead, let's do The Best Day Ever from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie soundtrack that was then adapted into an episode of SpongeBob called The Best Day Ever.
I didn't know that.
I had the SpongeBob SquarePants movie soundtrack when I was a kid.
Oh, let's go.
That's how my dad knew the song. I introduced him to music too.
Oh, let's go. You're like turning the tables. Is that in your YouTube recommendations?
What, the best day ever in general, or what?
No, turning the tables. It's the son that shows his dad like modern music.
No, I haven't.
Okay, it'll pop up eventually for you.
It's just him like showing like, this is Boys a Liar Part 2. Is that kind of stuff?
Well, they probably have done it. He started with like Kendrick and like Radiohead. And then he was just like, oh, this is incredible. And now they just kind of do like everything.
Very strange song on the soundtrack, right? Is Rob the President by The Handsome Devil, which is
okay.
You remember that song?
I actually don't. I see it on the track list, and I see that it's one of the few that you cannot click
It is
doesn't have like a
because
hyperlink.
it's by an indie band. It was an indie band that kind of got boosted by, I guess like people who made Rock Band were fans of his because like this is before he even had a proper album out, and it's just like a song where he's like doing like a borderline Oingo Boingo shit, and he's like,
Okay.
I'm going to rob the president, and then like it's you hear like shotgun sounds in the background, and it's him complaining about like like the government's robbed me, and like it's time for me, and this is like end of the Bush era when this song is coming out. This is like we are in the actual like economic crisis now. It is a politically driven song that is playing on Rock Band.
No, I do not remember that.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the weirdest inclusion in a complimentary way. I think it's a fun song to listen to.
The other one that I would lump in there is A Jagged Gorgeous Winter by the Main Drag, because it's kind of...
You said lump in there, and I was like,
I did say lump.
Lump.
I did say lump.
Sorry.
Lump makes sense, I guess, for being in there.
Sorry, Jagged.
But yeah, A Jagged Gorgeous Winter by the Main Drag, because that's also like, it was just like a small indie band, and every time I try to look something up on them, it's just like, you can't find anything.
They're a Boston-based band, so I think they may have been part of the Harmonix team, if I were to guess.
Maybe.
I would either assume that, or like they were close friends with the people who worked at Harmonix.
Yeah, that would have to be... I love that song, and I still listen to it now, but it's just like, they were like around then, and then it's just like, they don't exist now. Which, I mean, a lot of things don't, these days.
Truly.
True dat.
Deep. Sometimes an artist overstays their welcome, like Smashing Pumpkins.
Yep. I saw that they put out an album like a couple weeks ago or something.
Don't bother.
Yeah, I'm not going to listen to it.
Thank you. Pass Billy Corgan. There's lots of reasons. I don't want to listen to this man ever again. And yet Melancholy is like one of the best albums ever.
I never got into it. Did you know he runs a wrestling promotion though?
I fucking bet. He's on Rogan all the time. He seems like he's part of that crowd.
Yeah. He runs, I think it's... I don't remember which one it is, though.
When I say he's on Rogan all the time, I need to emphasize I don't listen to Joe Rogan, but I get clips.
He's on Rogan, but those two guys, I feel like they need Rogaine.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because they're bald.
Yeah. Bad people are bald, by the way. All of them. No.
Yeah.
If you look like Lex Luthor...
I'm going to be bald eventually, so I'm saving my bad days for later.
We're all bald when we die, and that's why skeletons are scary.
True. True dat.
Underneath this glorious head of hair is a bald skeleton, and it's underneath all of us.
God, I'm going to have nightmares tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, my hair is going to be gone.
Thinking about Dem Bones by Alice in Chains. Not on the soundtrack.
Not on the soundtrack.
Not on the soundtrack. But it's a song. It's a song. You know what it is? A song on the soundtrack of? It is on the Street Fighter 2 animated movie.
Really?
Yeah, so you can watch the Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, and there's a scene where you can see Ken driving his car, and they're listening to Dem Bones by Alice in Chains in the English dub.
Wow. I didn't know that, I guess they had licensed songs in those.
English dubbing in the 90s, they did that thing all the time. If you watch like a Dragon Ball Z movie dub on like a DVD from the time, it's got like fucking Deftones. They have like Deftones tracks. There's like a clip that always goes around. There's like Stained and like Deftones and like that kind of stuff in there.
Hey, let's hear it for Stained one time.
Stained, yeah. Sorry, Deftones, for saying you next to Stained.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's been a while since I thought about Stained, honestly.
Yeah. But it hasn't been that long since I last stained a shirt.
Okay.
Great radio, everybody. I really love the Beastie Boys. I think the Beastie Boys are an incredible music act. They're a lot of fun, and I am delighted that they are on this in this game.
I think that I heard them for the first time in Rock Band 1, because Sabotage was in Rock Band 1. It was either that or No Sleep Till Brooklyn was in one of the Guitar Heroes, so whichever one I played first.
That's what's so interesting to me about their inclusion of So What You Want on here, because So What You Want isn't like one of their like big songs. It's not Intergalactic. It's not Sabotage. It's not Brass Monkey even, but like it's fun. I like that it's here.
I'll also add for weird songs. It's not like weird in like a bad way. It's just like, what a crazy inclusion. Master Exploder by Tenacious D.
Yeah.
It makes sense, I guess, why it's in there, but it is a pretty weird inclusion because it's like a comedy rock song.
We're cool guys.
Yeah.
We can have fun.
Yeah. And they did.
Yeah.
Those Harmonix fellas really did have fun.
those delightful boys from Boston.
For real.
Not just boys. I'm sure they have more than just boys that work at Harmonix. I know it's a male-dominated industry.
Yeah. That's very woke. A woke take?
Yeah, that's what people say about Boston all the time, is how woke it is. No one ever talks about the weird racism of Boston, Massachusetts. Oh, Give It Away, another track I don't care for.
Same.
I would like to give it away to another game. I'm going to edit in a laugh.
I was trying to be as silent as possible.
Thank you.
Oh, I just wanted a room tone for that, you know?
Mm-hmm. We talked about like the praise we have for Rock Band 2. Are there any flaws that you would associate with Rock Band 2, or would you say it's a perfect experience? You know, the track list aside that we've like, you know, said like, I don't care for this. Do you have any perceived issues with Rock Band 2?
It's hard to say because I really haven't played it since I was played it specifically, like Rock Band 2. I haven't played since like I was 12. And, you know, when you're 9, 10, 12 years old, anything is cool. If you can beat on drums, like that's a perfect experience. I'm sure that like now, like there's probably like, latency problems or something. Probably. I don't know.
I'm not going to speculate on flaws, Will. That's not what we do here.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you don't have an issue, you don't have an issue. You don't got to make up a guy to be mad at.
Yeah, there's got to be something wrong with it.
If you think it's like a streamlined experience to the point that there's nothing that causes you any sort of like issue, if you don't remember like fighting the game at any point, that's totally fine. We've talked about this a little bit. I do think that the format of it is kind of like its own undoing. The space that the game physically takes up in your home with the drum pieces and the guitar controllers. And that ultimately led people to, get rid of these items in some way or another, either because, it took up too much space or it was time to move on. They didn't own the consoles to those things anymore because people inevitably changed the consoles in their home. And some people had to downsize their living situation for whatever reason, saying they're moving out of the house for the first time, or a certain economic crisis drove them into new circumstances. Bleak thought, but it happened.
It did happen.
The appeal of the game was also the kind of like it was an issue. It was a certain thing that you had to work around, and that's why this thing was stifled a bit. Like you said, you could play Guitar Hero with a standard controller input, but what? I'm not saying this lightly. Fucking freak. It's unpleasant experience.
I did it as a matter of circumstance. Mm-hmm. Like, I wanted to play the games, but I didn't have the necessary well, I guess not necessary, but the good peripherals.
Crucial peripheral. We'll say that.
Yeah, that's better.
This game existed on like a transitional period for video gaming because Rock Band and Rock Band 2 are released on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. They also have PlayStation 2 and Wii releases. So people who had like the old generation of stuff or just had a Wii, they were able to like do all that stuff too. But the flagship experience was the Xbox 360 to PS3 one. And that's the part where they're incorporating internet into like the actual console itself and not having to do LAN connections if they want to connect to the internet, right? That is, the Wii had internet too, but it was not a service that people were using to the extent that people were using the PlayStation Network and especially Xbox Live at the time. And like you have these like physically present, cumbersome peripherals in your home, but you're also connecting to the internet and downloading paid DLC, which wasn't the Oblivion Horse thing had happened.
It's post Horse Armor. Yeah,
it's post Horse Armor. That. So it's not the first instance of DLC, but I do think it is probably a lot of people's first encounter having to do DLC, especially in a casual experience where, I'm not a big gamer, but I love me some Rock Band. People like my dad, right?
Yeah. It was also like they had like because it was usually just you bought a song or like maybe 3 or 4 songs by an artist. Like there weren't a lot of like packs that you would pay like, $15 or something for, at least that I remember.
No, they had packs. They definitely had packs where they released where it's like you can get, if you buy the whole pack, it's cheaper than buying the songs whole as line items.
I was buying them solo. Yeah. So I was just throwing money down the drain.
Were your parents poor or were you buying them out of their house and home?
I was bleeding them dry.
Yeah.
I said, guys, I have to play Rubber Soul.
Guitar Hero just added the entire Death Magnetic album, and it is the highest audio quality that you can listen to this album. That is an actual fact because the compression on the official release was...
Is that true?
Yeah, no. There's a great Michael Snare video. He's like a YouTuber I watch, and he did a great video about the history of rhythm games, especially from like 2005 to 2010. and he goes on a tangent about how like the highest audio quality version of Death Magnetic was actually in Guitar Hero because it didn't have the compression that the official releases had.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm
What
sure
a
that's
perfect
what
medium.
that's what young Will thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, like this DLC, I'm not saying it was like a good or bad thing necessarily, but it was an interesting time for this because it was still this fledgling thing in the grand scheme of things for mainstream gamers to experience this kind of thing on a console in their home. And it's both like an internet online experience and an in-person experience. And that is certainly a testament to the transitional period this peripheral-based game occupied.
Yeah, I would say like if it released now, it would be completely DLC heavy. And then I was like, well, that's Fortnite Festival.
Fortnite Festival. So let's talk about video game preservation really quickly.
Yes.
We're talking about the perceived flaws of the game, and I think it's more of like a failure is a hard word to say about a phenomenon that was like so present that you would watch South Park episodes about Rock Band at the time, right? But it is like a thing that burned out because people were oversaturated with Rock Band and Guitar Hero games that are constantly releasing back-to-back entries of. There was a Lego Rock Band video game. You know, there was Rock Band.
And I played it. And I played it.
My younger brother had the DS version of Lego Rock Band. Like it existed. We didn't have the flagship or any of the peripherals, but we did have a DS version of it in our home, right?
Yeah.
But we interrupt this podcast to bring you some breaking news, Will. The game we're talking about is hard as hell to play. So in this emergency segment, No Country for Old Games, we are going to talk about the weird availability of Rock Band 2 because it may be the most insane example of what availability is, and it sort of ties into the history of the company and everything like that, right? So let's talk about video game availability for like the Rock Band series in general, because there's so much that goes into this, because Rock Band and Rock Band 2 and Rock Band 3 and all the Rock Band games except for Beatles Rock Band could be transferred over into future entries of the Rock Band series. They did create a space with the acknowledgement of like, we don't want to feel like somebody's betrayed every time we release a new entry. We want to maintain the audience that we do have, even though we want to like lure in new audiences. And this is, I'm glad that they weren't being as fucking evil as possible in that process, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad that they created space for that. So if you had Rock Band 4, you had like all these other Rock Band games loaded into your thing, right? And the subject of video game preservation means a great deal to me. I believe video games are an art form. They create experiences, leave impacts on the people who play them. But this often means very little to publishers who struggle with keeping older games on modern hardware. And as time goes on, games that were once readily available to purchase and play become more and more difficult to acquire. And we've talked about the pricing issue with acquiring peripherals, even though Rock Band 4, the most recent release, which came out in 2015, which was several years after the last Rock Band game, they gave it some breathing room. They were like, we understand the problem. We did too much in too little time. Let's take a break for a few years, come back, gauge interest with some DLC in 2013, come back in 2015, Rock Band 4, and it's just one game now. All that old music, bring it in. Awesome. Great. If you paid for DLC, we'll honor that. If you have these older copies of the game, as long as they're under the same console ecosystem, PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, we'll honor that. Great. Awesome. And it was noble of them to try and attempt Rock Band 4 as like instead of doing a million games at once, one game, we'll just keep updating it. And they did keep updating it for basically every single week from the game's release until this past January. But Harmonix, the developers, have changed ownership over time, right? They were originally an independent company, and then they were bought by Viacom under MTV. And then they were sold by Viacom as a tax write-off. And then eventually they would go on to be, under this time, they would do things like Dance Central on the Xbox Connect. They were still afloat. They made some hard times, but they were sold off to another company, used as a tax write-off, and they also inherited the debt that their parent company owned, putting them in a weird place. I'm not going to go into like the big details of this because there's so much to talk about with just this one particular topic. They went independent for a while. During this entire time, like in 2015 is when they released Rock Band 4. That was like their big like Hail Mary, trying to get some funds into them. But ultimately they were purchased by Epic Games in November of 2021. When they were acquired by Epic Games, their main focus was like, all right, you're part of the Epic Games ecosystem now. We got a little game called Fortnite. Can you make Rock Band Fortnite? And they're like, what the fuck do those words mean? And they're like, we'll show you. We'll show you. It's interesting, right? The way that Harmonix has sort of created this segment of gaming for themselves where they're like the music company, the dedicated music company in America.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that they've been able to stay afloat despite so many other companies folding in that time. Red Octane doesn't exist anymore. The Guitar Hero people, like, I mean, Neversoft is gone now. Neversoft is not an existing company anymore. Activision,
genuinely rest in peace.
Genuinely, yeah. Activision is now Activision Blizzard. They've been acquired and merged, and now they're part of Microsoft. Like the gaming landscape can be changed. And you can sort of track a lot of that just by keeping track of the history of the people who have created Guitar Hero and Rock Band and how the conditions have changed now. It's so difficult to get peripherals for these ancient games now in the grand scheme of things. When I say ancient, 2005 for Guitar Hero, 2007 for the first Rock Band game. And the last official entry for Rock Band was Rock Band 4, a game that we did not know was continuing to get support. And again, awesome that they did that until January 2024. But now this game and this Harmonix play system that they created and built from Guitar Hero to the Rock Band series to now is now been consolidated into this whole company is now dedicating all their resources to Fortnite Festival, which is a music and rhythm game within Fortnite. It's not a separate download. Trust me, I tried. I downloaded Fortnite for the first time.
Wow.
For research for this episode, because I was curious what the deal with Fortnite Festival was. Like, was this a worthy successor to Rock Band? Did it import all those tracks that the older games had? No.
No.
So I was curious if maybe Rock Band still exists and they've just put all those resources inside of Fortnite Festival, and this game technically still does exist, and we could have an interesting conversation about that. But no, I played Fortnite Festival. Will, have you played Fortnite Festival?
I have. I would say the first week it came out, so it came out with Lego Fortnite and Rocket Racing.
What are we saying? Continue.
I know.
Lego Fortnite.
And yeah, I know. It just felt so it's like Fortnite is now a channel. These are shows on Fortnite's channel or some shit.
Yeah.
It really is bigger. I mean, it's always been bigger than a game, but now it has games within its own game. And for Fortnite Festival specifically, I think out of the 3 that they launched with, it's probably the worst one. And that hurts because I always loved rhythm games. I got back into rhythm games just a couple months before they announced Fortnite Festival and Harmonix and everything was doing it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I had high hopes, but I definitely was anticipating it. I was excited to see what they were going to do. I think also the fact that it doesn't have peripheral support as of right now. It's going to. I think PDP is the one that just made a new guitar controller for Fortnite Festival that also I believe it's backwards compatible with other Rock Band games or something. I should have looked this up. I don't know if you did.
No, everything you're saying is correct so far.
Okay, cool.
That's coming out soon, but they're being made and they want to do controller support, but it's not in the game yet, even though the game has been out since December.
Yeah. So basically, if you're playing on PC, you're just hitting 5 keys on your keyboard.
Yeah.
That's it. For every instrument, it's the same. It's different tracks. You're playing different things, but you're playing it the same way, so it doesn't actually feel different.
Yeah, it is a very weird experience, and I feel old playing a game when I am 28 years old. I'm turning 28 this year. And
Happy birthday.
Because, again, you can watch history change around you just by looking at the releases of rhythm games. Rock Band 4 is okay, cool. We'll turn this into a living video game where we just continuously update it instead of releasing new physical discs every fucking 3 months or whatever. Interesting. So you evolved with the times and you were able to support that. I don't think it was profitable for your business, but you maintained that. And then you found a company to acquire you. Unfortunately, that company has been Epic Games, and historically, acquisitions and mergers have been very, very bad for the laborers of the video game industry. Just last year, Epic Games laid off over 830 people, around 16% of their workforce. Layoffs are devastating the video game industry right now. I've talked about this plenty of times. So it's not really a secure place to work right now, and they've definitely gone all in on Fortnite. And here's the thing, Harmonix is still alive despite everything. Yeah, I normally write really detailed notes when I'm talking about the No Country for Old Games section, and that's because I don't want to make a fool of myself, and I want to make sure I'm giving the most accurate, up-to-date information about the availability of the games that we talk about. I didn't do that for this episode, and it's not just because of like the thing I've been saying all episode, which is like we're doing a silly one, we're doing a fun one. This is a very loosey-goosey episode. No, it's genuinely I don't know where to start or how to approach this, because normally I rate video games on a scale of A to ARG, and ARG is like, you guys know what ARG means, but it's hard to even say that because it's a peripheral-based video game. So even if you go through the non-traditional channels to acquire this game, if you want the authentic experience of it, you're still going to need some version of the peripherals. And that's difficult to talk about. And this game, as it exists, just kind of doesn't anymore, not because of, like, if you find a disc and you put the disc in and you put it in the right system and it works for it'll work. But the DLC for Rock Band 1 and Rock Band 2 have been discontinued. You can carry forward the disc tracks in Rock Band 2 into a Rock Band 4, which still does have their DLC supported, but the things that you can still download from there, their licenses are bound to expire over time. If you bought DLC in the past, they'll honor those purchases and let you download them, which is great. It's honorable. But if those licenses expired and you just now got into Rock Band, you wouldn't be able to download those older tracks. It's a very weird and complex situation. And it's difficult to say. You can't play this game unless you are able to acquire, again, these really expensive peripherals in the aftermarket. It's very difficult to talk about this game. And on the Fortnite festival of it all, I tried it out. I wanted to see, like, maybe this is just, maybe they were able to carry forward the Rock Band spirit into this new thing. But one, like you said, they don't have the peripheral support yet, and peripherals are being made, and they are coming out, specifically the guitar from PDP, as you said. But no, if you want to do it right now, like I played it on the computer too, and I tried it with the keyboard. It felt super uncomfortable. It definitely did not feel intuitive. It did not feel exciting to play. And since I didn't squat up with somebody, I was playing with total strangers online, which you kind of have to do because, as far as I understand, there's no offline version of the game to play because this is a live service version of the Rock Band 4. So like, unless you pay money to download a track, and it's like $5 to pay to keep a track permanently, you are beholden to whatever the daily rotation of tracks are. And it's a pretty wide variety of songs. Like, there's songs that were in Rock Band 2, for example, Down with the Sickness by Disturbed, which is a very strange song to play because not just because of how long it is, but the lyrical content towards the end.
Think about it, like, this is probably like your 10-year-old cousin or something. That's like his first time hearing this song. It's going to be a Fortnite song now.
The guy begging his mommy for half the song Down with the Sickness. People always remember the beginning of Down with the Sickness. A lot of people don't really remember how that song goes, like, keeps going.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it keeps going.
It continues. I don't like Fortnite Festival. I used the PlayStation controller after the keyboard, and that still fucking sucked. It's so necessary to use a peripheral. There's no way to get peripherals. The daily rotation, because it's a live service model, and the fucking price gouging of a $5 payment to permanently keep a song that's in the rotation at all times. Do you know the story that Ethan Hawke tells about his experience with Chris Christopherson? Are you aware of the story?
I can't say I am. I might be.
There's a story that I think Ethan Hawke wrote a profile about Chris Christopherson once, and he recalls an anecdote at Willie Nelson's 70th birthday party concert where Toby Keith comes out from like the basement and he just says like some like weird like right-wing thing out loud enough for Chris Christopherson to hear it. And he goes off on him, yells at him. And then like after Toby Keith leaves or walks away from the situation, Chris Christopherson looks at Ethan Hawke and goes, "You know what Waylon Jennings said about guys like him? They're doing a country music what Pantyhose did to finger fucking."
Okay.
And with that being said, Epic Games is doing to Harmonix what Pantyhose did to finger fucking. I am so glad that Harmonix has managed to survive. I'm so glad that the people that work at that company still have their jobs. If the alternative is these people do not get to keep their jobs in a tenuous situation under a company that lays off their staff frequently and in such large quantities, if the alternative is they don't have their jobs, I would rather have Fortnite Festival. Do not get me wrong, but it is such a disappointing thing to see. And there's just like so many unfortunate things under this model of this video game industry with how licensing video game music works. This game is just simply damn near impossible to replicate without a serious cash infusion. This experience is practically gone for people of any economic class besides people who have like money to spend on these peripherals or find something in the wild on a good deal like you were able to do, Will. And I say good deal with like the biggest asterisk in the world because
I know, yeah.
$90 is fucking ludicrous on its own. But I've seen these things online for as much as $400 sometimes. It's absurd. And thank you for listening to me rant about it. Is it an A? Is it an R? It's an I don't fucking know what the fuck is going on. I hate this segment right now.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I chose the game that broke the segment.
I'm glad I had this conversation. I'm glad I love having you on. This is really fun. I'm really having a great time in here, but I like want to have like something for people to take away from it all this. And the answer is like, you don't. It sucks. It sucks out there.
Good luck.
But yeah, no, Fortnite Festival is not a worthy replacement of Rock Band. It is not worthy of the work that Harmonix has put into rhythm video games in the past. These people clearly have a passion and an enthusiasm for music if they were able to maintain DLC on a video game that wasn't widely popular for nearly 10 years. And I really hope that this company doesn't go away. I really hope that there is a future for something like that. I'm not necessarily saying that peripheral-based video games are absolutely essential, but it does feel like something is gone now that once existed. And that's kind of a bummer. That's really a bummer because this game is wonderful. The Rock Band games were wonderful taken holistically. Obviously, they were pushed too far by their publishers to release too many games at once in a very unfortunate time. But these games are great. There was a reason this game and Rock Guitar Hero and games like that had an appeal. So let's talk about the game again, Will. Moving on from
Let's do it.
What impact would you say this game made on you? You talked about it a little bit, but in summary, what would you say like this game has done to you? Because it seems like it's done a lot for your life.
I mean, yeah, besides just like the obvious, like, I learned or I heard this song for the first time. I found a band I liked. I mean, it taught me how to play drums. And that's something I do now. Like, I just love, I play drums. Like, I love to play the drums. And then from playing drums, I was like, ooh, now I want to learn guitar. So then I started learning guitar. It's like, it gives you, it's again, it's not a one-to-one translation, but, it gives you the, bare necessities that you need to, get into, and, I don't know if I want to make music or anything like that. But just being able to play music is cool,
For sure.
It's low-key sick. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're making something. You were not simply content. I mean, you had a great time playing music and doing that, but you enjoyed it so much that you were willing to invest in equipment to do something where you are also in the creation sense. You're not just a consumer. This affected you enough that you are now, an enthusiast, a creator. Like you're playing with the stuff beyond the parameters of what these games were built for. I want to talk to you about Clone Hero for a second.
Yes.
Because this is possibly, we were talking about how bleak it is out there, right? This is a freeware music rhythm video game that officially released in November of 2022, but has existed in some form since about 2017. It's functionally a clone of the Guitar Hero games. Like it uses the same user interface as I understand it, but it uses community support in order to support itself with fan-made tracks. And the tracks don't just extend to existing music from previous games. People play in time to the steamed hams bit from Simpsons and things like that. In an enthusiastic community that's like, fuck yeah, I'll play that shit and try to get 100% on it on stream. It's a community that has, as far as I've never touched Clone Hero. I did not feel comfortable engaging with this without a proper peripheral because the peripheral feels like the core appeal of the experience. But how about you tell me, your experience playing Clone Hero and what it's been like.
I mean, it's basically how you described it. It's completely community driven, and as of right now, like it's still a pretty strong. Like it's still going. Like there's a website where all the customs get uploaded. It's called Rhythmverse, and I mean, there's dozens of, I won't say hundreds. There's probably dozens of uploads each day. And like there's like groups that are making packs, you know, like they'll get together. It's like a super group of charters, like, and they'll release a bunch of like basically like DLC packs, but it's just free. And then, you know, you can support them, you can donate to them individually, you can donate to the site too. But yeah, I don't know. It's completely community driven, and most of the charts that I've done are like good. Like it is actual effort. I've kind of messed around with the program to make the charts. It's hard. It is a hard ass thing to do, and you have to actually like put all of the inputs in there. And they're doing these for like, you know, 4-minute songs. So it's pretty incredible. I do also, Clone Hero is great. I also want to mention Yarg. Yarg is basically the same thing as Clone Hero, to where it's community driven, uses the same files and everything. It's just it's on basically a Rock Band. It's a Rock Band clone instead of a Guitar Hero clone.
Right.
It also has better support for Pro keys. If you want to play the Pro keyboard and the Pro guitar, which was their attempts at like real instruments, pretty much.
Right.
They all had Pro drums, and then they had Pro keys and Pro guitar in the older ones.
So that's what I'll say for my rating on availability. On a scale of A to ARG, it's a Yarg. Check out
perfect.
Yarg, guys.
Perfect.
Maybe you're a person who has like, I have these Rock Band drums. I have this Rock Band guitar, but oh my God, I don't have a copy of Rock Band. Well, there's freeware out there for you, and it's waiting for you. And you don't have to be a Twitch streamer to play it. You can just play it out by yourself and have fun with it. Just because no one's around to see it doesn't mean you didn't have fun.
I've had fun plenty of times, and no one has any clue about it.
Yeah. But hey, I'm glad that you have a version of this that exists, because that's what matters to me. And that's why you're talking about this at all, because like you have this continued affection for something, even if you aren't playing the official version of Rock Band 2. Like this episode's going to be titled Rock Band 2 when it comes out, but it's kind of about everything.
Yeah.
It's about the Beatles. It's about my dad playing SpongeBob. It's about Clone Hero. It's about Yarg.
It is not about Guns N' Roses.
Unfortunately, they have been brought up. What would you say? Would you say like these games like Clone Hero and Yarg, besides the fact that like this has like such a community driven support, which is the core appeal, and I imagine like obviously makes it into this new thing and creates the support as long as community still exists, the wikis and the discords and the Reddit pages and all that. Do you think like it is much different from actually playing Guitar Hero Rock Band in any way? Do you think it's just they did it? They functionally replicated it.
I mean, yeah, they pretty much did. If anything, it's like even more like customizable and everything. You can like completely map your inputs. So like, say if you're like, in my case, you're playing drums, and I have drums with like cymbals too. You can map everything. You can map something that isn't even there if you wanted to. Like, it's completely customizable. Yeah, I don't know. It's good.
I'm glad you bring that up, because I think another fundamental flaw of Rock Band is all video games have an accessibility issue, and they can't obviously accommodate every single disability, but there's been a lot of resources made to do such things. And it seems like this fan-driven community is doing a lot to make accommodations for people who aren't able to play video games in a traditional way and can do key bindings or controls in a way where they're able to enjoy and appreciate the experiences in their own way.
Yeah, I don't know. It is super accessible. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
True that.
True. So that about covers it for our coverage on Rock Band 2 and more. Thank you, Will, for talking to me about this wonderful, wonderful game, this wonderful series, this complicated tapestry, and this peripheral-based genre that has come and gone and returned again in both a very empowering way for the community and also a very, I'll say, predatory way, a content-based way vis-a-vis Fortnite. It's just amazing that it's interesting that two, I wouldn't say amazing, interesting that two such things exist, and one is like the most evil possible version of itself, and one is so driven by passion and community, by people who do not stand to profit from such things.
Yeah.
Let's even go further outside of that and talk about recommendations. For people who love the Rock Band series or rhythm games, what would you recommend to listeners?
Obviously Clone Hero and Yarg. Those are the two big ones. There are, I don't know, really for like drums, there's like cheaper like MIDI instruments you can get on Amazon and stuff like that. Or from a local music store, probably. And you can like hook up a MIDI input to those games too. So it's like, it's obviously best with the peripherals from those games, but there's other ways to do it. You know, if you don't want to pay the completely price hiked drums and guitar, you know, there are other ways to do it. There she goes. All right, cool. Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Thank you, Annie.
She's back.
She's back.
Cardi, come on.
She's a star.
She really is.
She's a star.
She's like, I waited too long. I was asleep. Now I need to be the center of attention.
I'm having a great time. I cannot speak for the listeners, but
I am too.
I can understand that the squeaking is a thing.
For the listener, that's my dog. That's not like somebody. Like, that's my dog. Getting the zoomies.
I do not think there's a single person that thought that was anything other than a dog, but in case there was,
just so you know. But yeah, there's yeah, I don't know. It's hard to recommend anything besides those two things because everything else is so inaccessible, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you can find copies for cheap, sometimes you can go to thrift stores. I got a, though you can't see it right now. It's an audio podcast. Anyhow, I got a Guitar Hero guitar at a thrift store with a working Wiimote in it for like $4. So
crazy.
You know, there's ways to find it.
Yeah.
It's just you still have to get lucky, and it is still predatory. Like,
yeah, I get that. Do you have any recommendations that aren't necessarily video games or Guitar Hero Rock Band based? Like, for example, I have like movies and a completely different video game I have to recommend.
Got you. Music, just as a whole.
Go music.
Listen to it.
Let's hear it for music.
I'm getting my music hat. My Rob Lowe NFL music hat.
Yeah.
What are we consuming right now? Desperate Housewives?
Yeah.
I recommend Desperate Housewives. It's an incredible watch. It really is.
Yeah.
I was not into it at first. Now I'm sold. Completely sold.
You'd recommended Twin Peaks last time in Paris, Texas during the Fall to Vegas episode. And now we can add Desperate Housewives to that.
Yeah, it's honestly very similar to Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I haven't, but I am familiar with it.
You should.
Maybe it's Sex and the City I'm thinking of, but isn't Kyle MacLachlan in Desperate Housewives?
He's in Desperate Housewives.
He's also in Desperate Housewives. Okay.
Yeah, he's basically a main character.
So it's like Twin Peaks for real.
In the mid-seasons. Yeah, it really is. He just comes in and he does Kyle MacLachlan. I would say Desperate Housewives, and give me another recommendation.
You were going to say Robot.
I was going to, but that's like 2 TV shows.
No, you can do that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot.
Took us years to finish it. We finally finished it like a month ago, and it really is incredible. I can't believe that is a USA Network show.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
It's much better than Suits. If you guys have been on the Suits train on Netflix, check out some more stuff, specifically Mr. Robot. I watched the first 2 seasons of it and loved it back when it was airing. I haven't caught up with it since then.
That's basically what we did.
Yeah.
I'll let you know, like, it gets stupid in a good way. Like, there are episodes that are like, oh, this is a film.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty crazy.
In season 2, where they have like Joey Badass with a katana, I'm like, this is stupid in a cool way already. But
yeah,
if you guys like music too, it definitely has music in it. I'm not just saying this is very stupid.
It does have music in it.
But it has like music by like FKH Wigs. It has Pixies music. It has Green Day in there. Like it definitely has music if you enjoy that. Any other recommendations before I go give mine?
Being cool.
Being cool. Be nice. Yeah. Be cool.
Yes.
Fuck Fortnite Festival.
For real.
I come today with some recommendations of my own. The first is a video game called Hi-Fi Rush, which is a rhythm-based action game with beat-em-up and platformer elements. It is developed by Tango Gameworks, who also developed The Evil Within 2, and Ghostwire Tokyo. It is nothing like those games. In many ways, it is the opposite of those games. It is a very bright, vibrant, cartoonish aesthetic with a very upbeat protagonist who is grating and annoying, but has a great supporting cast, and the mechanics are incredible. You play the game to the beat of music, and your attacks will land if you don't hit something on the beat, but your attacks will hit harder, and your combos will get better if you are hitting things on the beat. Most of the music is original compositions by their internal sound team, but when you get to, say, a boss battle, licensed music starts to play, and you are fighting literal bosses of an evil corporation to Nine Inch Nails songs and Flaming Lips songs. And there is one such song that comes in that I don't want to spoil, but I was like, I didn't know that artist could be in video games. And it's like the most delightful moment I've had in a video game all year. If I had played this game last year, it would have easily been in the top 5 that I'd given in my Game of the Year episode. This game's incredible. I haven't even finished it yet. But if the last 3 levels hold up to the level of quality that I'm playing now, yeah, no, it was one of the best games of 2023 to me, at least.
I was interested in it, but I never actually played it. But now, like, that sounds like everything that I want. Like,
yeah, I think you'd really like it, Will. I think if you're trying to play a video game that isn't just 5 colors, I definitely recommend this one.
Is there like 6?
There's like at least 7.
Oh God, okay.
Sometimes 8.
Oh.
No, great game. Like I said, the protagonist is a little grating, but the game's fucking great, guys. Definitely check that out. If you like games like Devil May Cry, Ratchet and Clank, things of that nature, it is coming out on PS5 by the time this episode drops. It is already on Xbox and PC on Game Pass. I'm playing it on PC now, and the only frustrating part is my controller will keep giving me the Xbox prompts for things, and I have to remember the button placement is different than it is on the Switch. But other than that, delightful time, incredible time. 3 movies I leave you with. First one, Rock Band 2 features the song Psycho Killer by Talking Heads, one of my favorite songs on that soundtrack. It is also the opening song for the Talking Heads concert film Stop Making Sense, released in 1984, directed by Jonathan Demme, who is known for films such as Silence of the Lambs, one of my favorite films. Stop Making Sense is also one of my favorite films. And I find the way that it presents the music to feel like a narrative. It builds and escalates until the whole band and their accompaniment are playing these big, loud, sonically amazing songs. The performances are incredible. The energy keeps building, and the momentum of the thing is just so great. If you even have a passing interest in Talking Heads, or if you like new wave music, if you love music, if you have a true passion and enthusiasm for music and you haven't seen this film, I'd highly recommend it. There's a 4K release coming out in May of this year. I'm definitely going to buy that. Unfortunately, I don't think it is on streaming anywhere right now, but there are certainly ways people who really want to see things can.
Did you see it in theaters?
I did not. I missed out, and I
wanted to. I know,
yeah. 2 other movies. And all 3 of these movies are like 90 minutes or less, by the way. I won't take up too much of your time with these. Certainly they're shorter than this episode. But 2 more movies. Popstar Never Stop Never Stopping, a 2016 film by The Lonely Island, and has countless cameos from various actors and musicians. If you love Ringo Starr, artist of Your Baby and drummer for the Beatles, he's in this film. Seal is in this film. Emma Stone is in this film. Maya Rudolph, Tim Meadows, one of the funniest people who's ever been born. Incredible cast. It's great. If you have not seen this film, if you like the music of The Lonely Island, if you like the film Hot Rod, if you like musical films, if you like comedies, it's one of the funniest comedies ever made. Check it out. Stan Connor for real. One more short musical comedy, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story, a 2007 film starring John C. Reilly as the titular Dewey Cox. It is a parody of musical biopics that is only aged better over time because the vast majority of musical biopics continue to hit the same notes. Bada bing. Incredible fake soundtrack. This one is set itself across like the 40s through 80s, early 90s, and has an incredible cast of people playing fake versions of real artists. So you see Jack White playing Elvis. You see Frankie Muniz playing Buddy Holly. You see 4 very funny people playing the Beatles. Jack Black of Tenacious D. What if he was in the Beatles? From Liverpool. Great film. Great film.
Great record.
Excellent album. We learned a lot from
Great
it.
record.
One of my favorites. One of the films I've rewatched the most in my adult life. It's also one of the funniest films ever made. Check that out. I don't know if that's streaming on anything. Popstar is on Hulu. Talking Heads will be on physical very soon. But please seek out these films however you can. They're incredible. And that is everything I have to promote. Will, how about you promote the hell out of yourself before you go?
Yeah, check me out. I'm online. I'm on the internet these days. I'm at FuckMaryWill on Twitter. I am F Mary Will on Twitch. I don't really stream, but if you want to give me a follow, sometimes I'll play a video game there. I'll play Clone Hero. I think that those are the only two things that I really would use now.
Okay. Well, I'll include the links in the description of this episode so people can find you and follow you. You've been one of my oldest internet friends, and it's always a delight to talk to you. And I'm happy to bring you on the show again to talk about such silly, goofy things and also such serious matters because you're a good buddy. I like having you here. Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I love doing this. This is fun.
This is great. And I didn't have to kill you this episode, which happened last time.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Man.
He's risen and he's staying.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Will, for being on the show. And thank you so much for listening to this episode of Select and Start. Once again, I am your host, editor, and promoter, Keifer. If you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you did, please give the show a positive review wherever you're listening to this. Engagement helps the show, and your feedback will improve it. And if you want to get more engaged, give the show a follow on Twitter at SelectPodStart if you have thoughts about Rock Band 2 or any of the litany of the games we have discussed. Send a DM or leave a comment. I'll gladly read it on the show. You can also support the show on Patreon. If you pledge at least $1 a month, you will get early access to new episodes, as well as extended episodes such as this one with exclusive content. That's on patreon.com/Keifer's Corner. You can find a link to that and the rest of my projects in the description of this episode. Select and Start is on the Moonshot Network, which is supported by its own Patreon. Find out more on moonshotpods.com. The art for the show is made by my best friend, Avry Ott. You can follow him on social media with the handle at AveryRobinOtt. The show's theme song was composed by Mike Pettry. You can check out the links in the description for both of their works, as well as Will's. All right, I think that's it. 3, 2, 1, let's jam. Usually we talk about inscription.
Ooh.
What about conscription?